therapist at Ascension now.
So did she have to get a bachelor's?
She got a bachelor's at USI, but she already had the associate's degrees when she graduated high school.
Yeah,
you can work as a respiratory therapist with just an associate's degree, but the people who get a bachelor's degree are the ones who can draw arterial blood and work on the ventilators and all that kind of stuff.
So, but Indiana's changing their high school graduation this year. So, not graduation, but I guess the
diploma
curriculum,
diploma requirements.
So, so now they can work an apprenticeship outside of like a sig tech, or going over there to do certain things. They're going to be able to work for people.
So they can get some credits with so many hours. So I was looking here. It looks like 150 hours of work-based learning you can utilize for employment seal credits. So the way apparently the new Indiana diploma is going to work is you're not going to have an honors and a core 40 and a general like you did back when I went to, probably back when you went to school.
Yeah.
Even.
I don't remember core 40, but
so now they're not going to have that. They're going to have the same diploma for everyone, but they're going to have different seals, I guess is what they're calling them.
Yeah.
So they'll be no, not those kind of seals. So their base diploma requirement is actually going to go up from 40 to 42 credits. They're going to have your normal English credits, math credits. One of the big things that when I was talking to the counselor at that event I was telling you about, she said that apparently to get the higher diplomas, you had to at least finish Algebra 2. Now that's not necessarily it. Algebra 1 is the highest, or you can go higher, but the minimum requirement class is going to just be Algebra 1 now. But they have science credits, social studies credits, health and wellness, phys ed. They even have a civics, financial, and digital literacy
Thank God.
credit. But
civics.
I don't know if it's a full civics class, though, because all three of those equal 1 credit. So I don't really know. And then personalized electives. Those were new as well. So they're allowing students to pursue things like world language, career preparation, fine arts, experimental learning, etc., with up to 12 of credits being in that realm. So they're changing it. Like I said, anybody going in as a sophomore this year is still going to maintain the old requirements. Anybody going in as a freshman this year will start the new requirements.
So my youngest son will be on the new.
If I recall, back when I was in high school, that was before either one of you guys was born. They had 2 different pathways. You could go the honors way, or you could go the people who went the other direction would come to school in the morning and then go to their place of work. We had guys who were electricians and plumbers and people who are.
And as I said on our last podcast, I think that's the way the kids need to go right now.
Absolutely.
I foresee that being the...
one of the schools I went to had mandatory shop where you had to learn wood making, that sort of thing.
So unfortunately, in school, things like shop or metal class or anything like that, they're not. That's not part of this necessarily. And I don't know
unless they go to sig tech.
Well, right, but but the apprenticeship portion, I guess, could utilize that. It'll just be off-site somewhere. It'll have to be with, like you said, like a sig tech or something.
I imagine they do basic core stuff at sig tech to get them prepped to go into the workforce. I would imagine.
I made 4 pieces of furniture when I was.
Yeah, apparently I made a lamp, and at the time I thought it was really cool. And the guy I made it with, he ended up taking it, and I never saw it again. But last time I saw him, I said, it's my turn to take that thing over. I want to have it for a little while.
Have it for a decade, then I'll bring it back and you can have it for a decade.
Yeah. He's had it for 35 years.
Well, so I didn't do anything like that. I remember having to make like not a soapbox car, but like a car, like a race car.
I did that in Cub Scouts.
Well, I did that in Cub Scouts as well, in Eagle Scout or whatever. I guess Cub Scouts is what it was. But this was for woodworking. There was that. We made a couple of it, but I didn't make any actual furniture that I recall.
Oh yeah, I made a lamp table. I made a something else. Made a little foot table. that you put your feet up on.
But anyway, with the way AI is changing everything, I think it's intelligent to get kids using
the trades
again.
I think micro is the way to go.
Yeah, micro's the way.
I didn't even mean to do that, but there we go.
Marketing for you, micro.
Yeah, if you're listening, Mike.
Yeah, I think definitely getting kids working with their hands, using their creativity more, thinking about doing things that aren't getting your degree and going and sitting at a desk job, because a lot of those jobs are going to be in peril.
They are, and that is my job. So I mean, it's kind of the pot calling the kettle black, I guess you might say. But I've already gone this direction. I'm already over 40 years old, and this is kind of what. Thankfully, I'm working on some of the AI systems, so I'm kind of hoping that it doesn't really take me out of it as quickly.
Be the fixer. You
well, that's kind of the hope. But
well, by the time we get to the point where AI is taking over the people that are coding AI right now, hopefully we've had serious discussions about basic income, UBI, and then also one of the things you and I have hit on. Are we live?
We're live.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
cool.
are we?
Hi. Welcome everybody.
Yeah.
Good evening.
One of the things we've talked about.
That's what happens when I have the buttons.
Yeah.
We've talked about keeping people, like a big part of most people's lives is working and creating things and feeling like you have a purpose that isn't just waking up in the morning and eating and watching television or something. Because I mean that leads to loneliness, depression, anxiety, all kinds of different things. So I think this is it's going to be a really interesting education reform window. Hopefully,
in medicine too, they're talking about like maybe 2/3 of the radiologists are not going to have a job within the next 10 years. Because the AI can do it faster and more accurately.
There's apparently a lot of things that could very easily be on the chopping block. Accounting, be one. Attorneys, not necessarily court, but more like their underlings, like the intro. People just looking for sourcing things in law books and things.
Sure,
those aren't necessarily going to be around anymore.
What do they call them?
I can't think of what assistants. I guess I don't know, but
yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So a lot of any of those, they said that kind of intro level white collar, a lot of blue collar, any automation is probably gonna. So a lot of the manufacturing is probably going to go.
That's why I mentioned that Vincennes University has a 4-year program on
fixing the robots.
Fixing the robots.
Yeah, I remember you saying that last show or 2 shows ago.
Robots and the painters and all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Hey, Travis, do a little pivot here. Will you mind pulling up the screen for me?
Pivot. Tis up.
So there's for whatever reason, I know that it's been extraordinarily warm. I know there was also, I think, some tweaks to legislation that was made, and there was some murmuring about CenterPoint raising prices again, which is our energy company here in southwestern Indiana, who we get robbed by legally every month. They are a monopoly. I posted something on Facebook from a friend of mine. This was actually their bill. This is not my bill.
It's $1,000.
It's $1,000. I have another friend who
I know who that is.
Another friend who is a friend of the podcast. His was actually $100 and something more than this one. So over $1,000 a month.
Mine doubled from the previous month to this past month, but now mine's not near this high because I'm a poor man.
So
I have a little house. I haven't gotten one yet, but I imagine mine's going to be close to 1,000.
Okay, so it's insane. People really do live paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah.
So if we're talking about effects on the economy and, if, larger picture, if Trump's doing a good job, or if your local to regional to state level administrators and politicians are doing a good job, I'm going to say our local and state officials are failing us miserably here in southwestern Indiana. We've talked about it before on a podcast. This is ridiculous. $1,000 a month. And I forgot how much. I think she said this went up by 40% over last month. So something that's normally $600, all of a sudden it's $400 a month. I mean, that's a car payment. That's
my $250 went to $500 almost. So we pretty much 50% doubled.
$1,000 is a car payment?
Some people
can be.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, no, I said she had a 40% increance. Yeah. So it went from $600 to $1,000. So $400 is a middle of the road car payment.
Yeah.
But anyway, I just my post, I said nothing will change unless we the people force it. Our government has allowed energy tyrants to create a monopoly. So we need to do everything we can do as a community, as a state, and all the way. I know this person. There's several other people I've heard. They've called the governor multiple times. They've called their legislatures, and they've also sent letters to Donald Trump. And so, he's going to get blamed for this at some level because cost of living obviously is going up, which is inflation. Inflation is the biggest tax on the people.
Well,
Inflation is slavery.
Yeah, I'm surprised that, here in Indiana, it's not as bad, but other places are still paying $4 a gallon for gasoline.
Well, I would rather pay $4 in gasoline than have these energy bills.
Yeah, that's right. Now, if you got the right equipment in there, it won't be as bad. And I had mine taken out and replaced last year. So,
but anyway, if you do that, that's $10,000 out of pocket.
Yeah, it was.
Or if you think about doing some solar, that's a big, huge chunk of money, and then you got maintenance and upkeep. So you got to worry about whether you ever get your money back or not out of it. And so, again, I just wanted to raise awareness here in the beginning of the program. Get online, get on social media, attend meetings, demand action from your mayor, demand action from your state legislators, send letters, call people.
Yeah.
We've got to make some noise. And if the people in charge and power right now won't stand up for us and do things, we need to replace them with other people.
Yeah.
And so that's my
there's another thing going on that you guys may not know, but we haven't had garbage picked up in a week.
Yeah, I know about that, them being on strike and things, yeah.
Are they on strike?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm going to start pouring it out in the middle of the road.
Locally, it has to do with the unions on strike. So locally, it's not a local matter. It is a matter elsewhere. We could probably do a quick search and find out, but it's the same union. And the union says that if they work here, then they will pool their union resources and stuff. So
you want to go, pour the trash on the courthouse steps?
I was going to say, really, that's not going to really do anything. It's just going to make our town a little crappier.
If it's not something that she or our city or county can.
What's the name of that company?
Republic?
Republic.
Yeah, Republic.
Is my screen gone now?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
So part of what I just practiced there in using this platform, using this program, and my two friends sitting here talking with me is free speech. And one of the beautiful things about living in the United States of America, above and beyond any other country, is we're promised free speech, and it's been under attack. It was under attack during COVID. Me and Dr. Roy got censored quite frequently just for saying the word COVID wrong,
ivermectin.
Or saying ivermectin, and things have changed in that path. But the same people that basically use that power to censor people aren't done with it just because they got pulled back a little bit. It's the same desire to control people and to control narratives. And several of the topics we're talking about today are really going to hit on why it's important over all times in our country's history, I believe, that we have absolute free speech. And free speech means you have to hear things that you don't agree with, that may not be true, but the person saying them has every right to say it, unless it's threatening someone, threatening their life or something like that. Or
doing the fire
in a crowd at theater. You can't do things like that. But if you have an opinion on something, because you look back to the time, Dr. Roy, whenever you and I, before we even started talking about COVID and what was happening, it was your understanding that everything we were being told was it is true pandemic, whatever. And if someone would have said something awry from that very early on, you'd have been like, what are you talking about? You don't have any idea what you're talking about.
There were people that talked about that, but I was getting the narrative from the state health department and also from the CDC. This is what you've got to do. This is what it does.
Yeah, and there's been no change in that process of, if something else happens again, they still have that same authority over you. Or over most doctors, I should say, and then over hospitals and administrators.
They never even tried to pull my license at all. Probably because I was, a solo practitioner, and what the hell? Why go after him? Why not go off after the big people that are giving out drugs like nobody?
Well, whereas if you had thousands of patients and you had a big microphone and people were listening to you, they may have came after you much faster. If we'd been podcasting for several years and you had a huge following, I bet you that it came after us even more, honestly. So on that track, I got a clip to start off with here from the Dark Horse podcast. They're two of my favorite people. Travis got something to
just really quickly to put a button on what we were just talking to before we dive into that. I did look it up real quickly. It is actually the Teamsters Local 215 out of Georgia who originated the strike, but they brought their picket to the Evansville Public Services location, and they are not on it. This says Republic is not on strike, but honoring the picket, and it doesn't really say when that's gonna.
Well, when we all dump our garbage on Republic's front door.
Yeah, there you go. There was a fire at the dump last night or 2 nights ago. There's a big fire at the dump. I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but anyway.
Oh, sure. The Teamsters will do anything.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yep. So circling back, so this clip, they're talking about a gentleman named Douglas Murray, and I don't remember Constantine's last name, but he's on the Trigonometry podcast, so they talk about Constantine from Trigonometry. Douglas Murray has been on a bunch of different podcasts, most notably recently he was on Joe Rogan podcast debating Dave Smith, and Dave Smith is a libertarian guy. He says his opinions a lot. He gets some things wrong. He gets a lot of things right. But basically what Douglas Murray was chastising or berating Dave Smith on Joe Rogan because he was saying things and Douglas Murray was afraid that the things he was saying would damage society in some way at a level where he just shouldn't say these things. And so this clip basically is taking that story on down the road a little bit, and I thought it was worth hearing. Here we go.
All of the harms that were well known about these shots before they were put on the market were buried so that we couldn't see them. So the fact is, the ability to discover that was present. The mechanism by which we discovered it is well known. It is the exact thing that the founders of this great country put first on the list of our enumerated rights for a goddamn reason. It was, they couldn't name a podcast. They couldn't have called out Joe Rogan, but they came as close as they could come to saying, sorry, there's no source of high quality information versus low quality information, malinformation, disinformation. You can't know ahead of time. The mechanism by which you come to understand what is true, Douglas, is discussion. It is discussion in which nobody gets to set the rules about what kinds of opinions can be investigated. And yes, that does cause some garbage stuff to be said, but what reveals that it's garbage stuff? Free and open inquiry that reveals that actually it doesn't stand up to scrutiny. That's how you do it, Constantine Kissen. I don't know what's wrong with these people. It's really like somebody has figured out how to threaten them into saying things that they full well know aren't true.
They're becoming what they were fighting against.
They are becoming what they were fighting against. And I must say, in both of those cases, I feel like I don't think I was duped to begin with, that they actually held free speech as a high value. So the fact that they are backing away from it and calling for some kind of standard, self-imposed or otherwise, to prevent certain, the fact is, heterodoxy is heterodoxy. And it often sounds crazy, and most of it is. But the good stuff is the stuff that sounds crazy that then does strangely stand up to scrutiny. That's how you figure out what's coming, is you look at the heterodox stuff and you figure out what has predictive power. And you can't get around that. And the people who tried failed. We were led to believe that...
All right, so that's an amazing clip. And one of the reasons why I want to keep hitting on this, though we've touched on this topic multiple times, Dr. Roy, is... for when the next thing happens, when the next thing comes down the pipeline, that we hear somebody say something that we think, man, that just sounds crazy. Yeah. You just can't ignore.
Leave it at that.
Yeah.
Yeah. If they're going to talk crazy, they might be right. I'm a conspiracy theorist, and I'm 39-0.
I think that number keeps growing. I think every time you say that, you keep saying no. It was 37-0 last. No, I'm kidding.
Well, I had a couple come true.
Oh, did you?
But anyhow, I got kicked off of Twitter because I was saying things about ivermectin and the fact that people were not being treated properly at the large hospitals. You know, they put a portable hospital in Central Park or somewhere in New York, and they only had like 4 patients in it. It could have held 400, but they were not put in there because the governor of New York said, no, we don't need that. We'll do them all in our own places. And they were screaming that they didn't have enough ventilators when they only had 1 person on a ventilator at that time.
I thought they had a barge medical unit or something.
Well,
did they bring in some type of floating?
Yeah, it's a floating thing, but they carried the parts and set it up in a.
Oh, did they? Okay.
In the park.
Okay.
Yeah, it was.
I vaguely remember that, but I try to completely forget 2020 if I can.
Those are U.S. Navy not barges. They're actually ships.
Oh.
They're they have expert names on them, but they are.
So apparently there's sweeping reform that was just passed or is being pushed through in the UK right now.
Oh, yeah.
And basically what they're saying, what they're calling it, is they want to be able to remove things from the internet if they're harmful to kids, is the big umbrella. You know, we're doing it for your safety. The problem we've run into so many times, and there's been no change in algorithm, there's been no change in core principles, there's been no apology, is the people that wielded those powers during COVID oftentimes pulled stuff off the internet that actually would have made a huge difference in the quality of lives and even the death of people.
Yes.
And so it is an absolute 100% thing that you have to lean into when you hear anybody talking about making sure that we're controlling speech on, from even when I get concerned about AI and the amount of behavior or information that we're going to be getting hit over the head with, I still, who do you trust to control that information? Who needs to be the arbiter of truth? I don't think anybody really can do that except for themselves.
Yeah.
And so it is a very slippery slope, and I understand we're going to be dealing with a lot of things here. But I got several clips here that I think I'm going to try to put a big nail on the head of this thing and try to influence people to know that whenever they lean into things and they know something is wrong, know something that doesn't sound right, you cannot be swayed or pushed down in fear. Like a lot of the things that happened during COVID is like, if I didn't want to get, the mRNA shot and I said so, I got publicly shamed, or you could lose your job, or all these different things that happened. I mean, you could have lost your license to practice.
Wouldn't have lost my license. I would have lost my ability to refer patients to the hospitals in town.
Exactly right.
Because we were ordered by both of the hospitals, you and all of your employees must have proof of inoculation. And if we didn't do it, they told us flat out, we will no longer accept your patients if you do not have 100% inoculation of you and your patients.
And what we've learned now, Dr. Roy, as you well know more than you know more than most, is we've learned the narrative was if we don't call it a lie, don't call it a lie, fine. It was completely a wrong narrative. They were saying we needed to do this one thing and this one thing only, whenever there was a lot of treatments and options to go. Yeah. And they were trying to force a narrative, so they basically just canceled people. They ruined people's careers. They ruined people's lives.
They kicked people out of the military for refusing the shots.
Yes.
And people lost their jobs at the hospitals
for resisting authority. Or what we're talking about is authority here.
Yeah.
Or got stuck so that they would keep their jobs, and now my wife might have a ticking time bomb in her. Who knows?
Yeah.
Well, me too.
Right. Yeah. You too. And you took more boosters. I think she only just took the initial.
My wife had 2, and she has not been the same since. She had instantaneous high blood pressure, and Dr. Roy has been her doctor forever. she's had the vitals of a teenager forever, and it just overnight just basically skyrocketed. So here's another clip. I think it might sync up pretty well with what we're talking about.
Successful until we saw what happened in modern times, right? Like with the pandemic. How do people willfully just throw common sense out the window and blindly follow the squawk box on their friggin' wall and just do whatever the hell they do?
What's weird is that couple year period at the height of the pandemic seemed to have rewired society, because like prior to that, you didn't see stuff like that. People were outspoken, they would protest, but seeing the shit that's taking place where people are beating each other up over toilet paper and keying cars and assaulting one another over signs in their yard and shit like that stuff didn't used to happen, and now it does. And to the Hitler point, it's like the PSYOP component. Like, you guys of all special operations know that the best in terms of helping fuel insurgencies in other countries. Is that's a huge component to swinging societies either against a current government or against an opposing one or whatever. And now it's happening right here in the United States.
So we got a lot.
We never knew as kids.
We got a lot of overlapping principles and concepts that we're going to be talking about today, and I felt again we got a little bit of a theme that we're dealing with here that I think is super important, and it's going to sound a little repetitive, but I think it's hugely important for people to really understand what's going on. And again, when you hear something or you sense something that's going on, do not be afraid to stand up and say something about it. We got DNI leader Tulsi Gabbard here, who's got a story to tell about one Mr. Mark Zuckerberg, who promised not to censor anyone anymore, but
he's still doing it.
Pay attention.
Hey everybody. So since this morning, I've gotten some questions from people who are not familiar with the term shadow banning and are asking exactly what it is. So I want to take a minute to show you. For example, when people try to type my name into the search box on Instagram or the Discover box, my account does not show up. Whether you type in Tulsi Gabbard, it literally does not show up. I'm also getting a lot of reports from people who are trying to at my name, at Tulsi Gabbard, and mention me in their Instagram stories or posts, and they're getting a warning that says this account has posted false information. Obviously, they're not providing us or whoever's trying to post this examples of what this misinformation is or what exactly they're talking about. People try to tag me in an Instagram post and they get an error saying, we are restricting certain activity to protect our community. What are they protecting their community from? Nobody knows. Another thing is just with my posts, I would say that with the numbers of views and the numbers of likes, they're down. So that just gives you a little bit of an idea of what shadow banning is and what the effects are. You know, I was talking to somebody yesterday saying, hey, how come they're allowed to do this? I know very well that these big tech companies have a lot of Congress in their back pocket. And so while you'll hear Democrats and Republicans railing against, suppression, maybe, I don't know actually what the split is between Democrats and Republicans, but you'll hear politicians railing against, the power of big tech monopolies and something's got to be done. Well, Congress hasn't done anything yet. And big tech money is the reason why. So as long as we have these cowardly leaders in place, I don't anticipate any real change. So if you are not already, I encourage you to join me at tulsi.locals.com. You'll get to see everything I'm posting directly. No chance of censorship. This platform celebrates free speech and democracy, and I encourage you to join me there or join me on other platforms whose mission it is to uphold free speech, uphold our First Amendment rights, and protect our democracy.
There you go. And so this is just another layered thing. And Travis, you and I are talking about, a space, a gathering space for content to where truth seeking is allowed over time, and to where all things can be weighed and people can be measured on their level of their ability to I don't want to say speak truth, but their ability to, as Dr. Weinstein said, sort through the noise to kind of find the signal inside of there that tells them the next thing that's going on before anyone else. And so if they're able to mute people in large chunks, basically what they do is take away our ability to sense things together and to hack through things, right? I don't know if either one of you have a riff on what any of that you want to talk about, but
No, I mean, it just shows the power of what individuals can do. And
sure.
Like you said, Zuckerberg was doing it back then.
And he's still doing it now.
Well, but at one point he was sitting in front of, was it Congress? Or he was sitting in front of, and it was somewhere, and he said that he did it. He was sorry or whatever he had said, and then he wasn't going to do it anymore. And then I think they're just finding more creative ways to try to do it versus just flat out.
That's the same thing with DEI. All the places in Indiana that the governor gave an order to cut up their DEI, they're changing the name on that, but they're doing the same thing. And the same thing with medical students who are applying at certain medical schools. They can have much higher test scores and still not be accepted when people of color or people of with different thoughts on transgender are accepted with a much lower score.
Charlie Kirk talks about this at college campuses a lot about how just everything's to be merit based, and people act like that's a racist thing to say, and I don't know.
Yeah, well, the truth isn't racist.
I can kind of get on the opposite end of that a little bit.
Can?
Well, listen, I am not a proponent of DEI. I do not support it, but there is I think there's an issue, and if you watch some Charlie Kirk stuff or listen to him at all, he kind of talks about it too, is yes, Caucasians and Asians are going to have higher test scores on average than other folks, and a lot of it does have to do with socioeconomic location and where they go to school and what they're able to do. But his big thing is he talks about how absent fathers, and how that is such a huge problem, and how he thinks if we can reduce that problem, that it will have a domino effect to reduce a lot of the other problems, which is probably true.
I think there's a lot of data that supports that.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, so I do think, like, I'm just going to say it. So our kids go to private school, and they're going to get a better education than most of the kids going to public school here. And we can do that because we choose to. For me, I'm not a wealthy individual. I'm not saying you are, but I'm not. But so my wife and I decide that we're going to cut back on whatever, vacations or toys or whatever it might be, so that our daughter can go to that private school. We don't just have the money to throw around. We're doing it on purpose.
Investing in her future.
We're investing. Absolutely, we're investing in our future. Yeah. And I think other people can do that. They just choose not to. And then some people cannot do that. And I understand that too. And that's another thing where I'm really happy that I believe it's starting in the next school year, that new change in the Indiana. The scholarship, it'll now be I believe it'll be a full, like the entire, like
the money, taxpayer money is going to follow each kid.
Follow the kid. And I think, so we're getting assistance. There is a Indiana, I can't remember what it's called.
It's based on income, levels of income.
It's like a scholarship kind of. Yeah. And thankfully, I mean, you pretty much, unless you're like, higher six-figure, household, you normally get a lot of it at least. So it helps us, but we still have to pay.
Well, if your kids went to one of the public schools, they would get all of it. They would get they wouldn't have.
There'd be no money there. And lunch was free. The school we in our that we're part of the district of, free lunches, free school, free books. It was free everything except for the after-school program was cost a little bit, but it didn't cost much. I mean, we're still paying like $2,000 for Grace to go there, or for my daughter to go there. For the school year, and then we pay for lunch, and then we pay for technology fee, and we pay for after school and all those things, and that's fine. We do it on purpose, and I think a lot of people can, but the people that can't, once again, I think does fall back on their economic standing, and I will attest to. I agree with that statement that probably does have some of the future effect on a kid going to school, having better test scores, and this, that, and the other. Being better prepared is due to where they go to school. I will agree with that, but I think that there's more to it than just lowering the standards for those kids and the other kids that are more prepared.
Well, the problem is you can't put people in positions of power or in positions in corporations based on anything other than merit. Otherwise,
I'm just going through the education.
Otherwise,
section,
you get to the point where airplane doors are flying off,
and
presidents are getting shot.
The same thing goes with medical school. You cannot put people who have low scores in medical school when you've got people who scored a whole lot higher.
Yeah.
You can't do that because
you want the best person doing the work on each person.
Yeah.
I think DEI is probably more racist than not. I know that sounds goofy probably to some folks.
It is.
But you are literally putting other races.
It's categorical.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think if you go merit-based, then your performance will speak for yourself. It doesn't matter the color of your skin or your hairstyle or whatever. I don't know. I mean, I think that merit-based, I've always thought merit-based is the way to go. Yep. Most people that are against it are those that would no longer be able to get into the schools or get into the jobs or do whatever. But
yeah. Well, we got into a rabbit hole there. I don't know exactly how we got there from talking about
education's a big on my head. Education is huge.
DEI out there.
So part of me having regular conversations about Zuckerberg, about Google, and about calling them out for when they lie, when they tell half-truths, whenever they censor, is because what you have to realize with your phone, with your browser that you are searching on, all of that information is pulled from their own data sets and from their own code filters built in AI. And so Zuckerberg and Meta, whenever they're giving you predictive things and telling you what's fact or fiction, is not taking into consideration all of the information that they took offline because it's not in their data sets. Same thing with Google. So part of the thing, one of the challenges we're going to have with AI now and moving forward is making sure that we're getting balanced information. Sometimes unsavory or unpopular information comes into the limelight. Sometimes people get things wrong, and so you might get some misinformation, but you're better off hearing things that aren't fully true than being not told things that are wholly true. So I think we're pretty close to rounding out this segment. I think I got one more. Basically, I don't want to play that other clip now because basically all I want to say about it is Dr. Roy and I talked about it extensively. I think, Travis, you were here when we were talking about the Twitter files.
Yeah.
And what the Twitter files proved was people inside of our government and other governments around the world had a direct in with Facebook, with Twitter before Elon bought it, with Google and all the major search engines, and they were telling people what they could and could not post. And that is absolutely dangerous. It's absolutely censorship, and it's absolutely something that we cannot allow. And I think this clip might be kind of a summary over, like we might be able to wrap up this little segment with that. This is scary to me. This is Alex Karp is the CEO of Palantir. And Palantir is I believe most considered a AI security company that our government is going to use. To me, it smells of Patriot Act 2.0 on steroids.
Yeah.
And this guy makes it like he's speaking to the people that you and I would agree with on a lot of things, Travis and Roy. He says a lot of the right keywords, but he's talking about our enemies and people that try to do stuff against us. So we got to hold them accountable. We got to do all these things. But just listen to his tone, his excitement, and we can have a discussion after it. I want you both to kind of give me your gut reaction after the clip and what it means to our future.
Americans are the most loving, God-fearing, fair,
discriminatory
people on the planet. And they want to know that if you're waking up and thinking about harming American citizens, or if American citizens are taken hostage and kept in dungeons, or if you're a foreign power sending fentanyl to poison our people, something really bad is going to happen to you and your friends and your cousins and your bank account and your mistress and whoever was involved. And when Americans are spending $1 trillion on defense, what I want and what I think my peers want is, why are these people keeping our citizens hostage, torturing our people, attacking our allies, maligning us in what was once called the United Nations, basically a discriminatory institution against anything good? We need to stand up, and those people need to be scared. And that's why this conference is so important, because we have the best products in the world, and we cannot have parity. Our adversaries do not have our moral compunction. If it's even, they will take advantage of our niceness, kindness, our desire to be at home in Nebraska or New Hampshire or wherever we live in our peaceful environments. And they need to wake up scared and go to bed scared. And if you give that to the American people will go back and say, and honestly, probably shouldn't say this is why I thought the Democrats were going to lose the election, why they did, because people want to live in peace. They want to go home. They do not want to hear your woke pagan ideology. They want to know they're safe. And safe means that the other person is scared. That's how you make someone safe. And the average American person understands this. Unfortunately, many of the intellectually captured institutions funneled and intellectually owned by the Berkeley faculty do not. And that's what they want. It's sure as hell what I want. And that's what Palantir and all the people in this room, I hope we're here to serve the American people. And my version of service is the soldiers are happier, the enemies are scared, and Americans go back to enjoying the fact that we're the only one with a real tech scene in this country, and we're going to win everything. That's how I see it.
That's okay. Yeah.
Well, so he didn't actually give any information. Like, he just kind of said, this is like, we should make them scared, but how are we going to do that?
Palantir is basically, you know what Palantir is?
Yeah, no. I understand, but that specific video, if all you saw was that video, it does sound good. It does sound like, yeah, absolutely, we need to blah, but it doesn't actually tell you what's going to happen to get there. And so I think that's what you were saying.
For them to hear and know what all of the quote unquote bad people are saying and who needs to be fearful.
Right. Well, I guess that's true. It does kind of dabble a little bit in what's going to happen. All of it's going to go through.
Who decides
through the filter?
Who decides through what court or through what process, through what whatever, who's going to be, what do you want me to do?
Or keep talking. No. I was going to have you try to lift your machine. See if that changed, that made that hum go away. But it went away before you picked it up though. Anyway, continue. Sorry.
So
who's going to decide?
Yeah, who's going to decide, and where does it stop? Like, are they going to be? They're going to have trackers on your kid's computer because they might do something bad or say something bad, and they might be a threat at some point because they say one thing weird on the internet, And does that put them into a box,
like a watch list,
a box that gets you banned off Twitter? The same box that got him banned off Twitter, did that put him in this thing where he's going to get more of his stuff listened to now because he said some things that are dangerous? To me, it's just a slippery slope, and this is the part where I understand government has to have intelligence. I understand why we have people online that are looking for things and looking for real threats. But again, this is just one of those things to me that it goes way overboard. It goes into your room more, into your bedroom, follows you around on your phone, follows you around through all your smart stuff that you buy at Forever Ford, flock cameras, everything. Basically look at China and know that everything you can put, you're going to have your facial scan recognized everywhere. You're going to be out on the streets. They're going to know, well, he did this and he's saying these different things. We need to track him. And you'll be tracked to all corners of the earth.
The problem
that's not. I think that's not a hypothetical.
No.
That's the direction that we're going.
No, absolutely. And I think that it is only it depends on who's controlling the content. That's the problem. Because I don't think it's necessarily always going to. I think it's good to monitor to an extent, but it's a very fine line of where that monitoring goes. But if a kid at your kid's school goes online and says, "I'm going to shoot it up today," don't you want somebody to know that?
Yes,
but if someone's going to have to monitor that. That's where
there's key. We've had that. They've had that system in place for a long time. Like even before cell phones and before whatever, if you got on a regular phone line and you made a threat to the president or you made a threat to the Secretary of State, there was
keyword recognition,
that would flag and do that.
But that's your monitoring.
Yes, but they weren't following you down the street then and tracking every word. And like, again, let's say we had a jokeful conversation and we have a really bad taste. Like we're just going to go off the rails and say a bunch of stupid things that we really don't believe, like comedy, humor, blah, blah, blah. You So
do you remember what humor used to be? Is that what you're going to say?
God, well, look at George Carlin. Look at George Carlin. I mean, oh my God,
I love George.
But I mean, he couldn't survive today.
No.
And so, but that's a problem because you have to. I mean, again, we can always have an argument that, well, don't we want our kids to be safer? Of course we do. Mm-hmm. It's the same debate that you have about should guns be banned. Well, there was
somebody would come take your car.
Well,
because
Charlie Kirk had a great thing. Like this person on a campus said, guns kill 30,000 kids per year. That number wasn't accurate.
No,
there are 30,000 gun deaths per year. Over half are self-inflicted.
Suicide,
yeah.
Some small percentage are kids, and there's gang violence is a big chunk of it, and all these different things. And then he's like, okay, so it's about safety and it's about kids, right? Yeah, safety and kids. Okay, well. Cars kill 55,000 people every year.
Right. Yeah. I saw that where he talks about the cars.
So if it's just about safety, why don't we just take cars off the road? So I mean, it's that slippery slope, and you could go do those things all day long.
What state has the highest percentage of gun ownership? Does anybody know?
I would percentage like per capita, or actually like how many
most guns in the state, or per capita?
Most people who own guns.
I'm still not sure which direction that's going to go, but it would probably be like a Wyoming or something. I would think
it's Montana.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I was pretty close.
Close.
In the
what's the murder rate in Montana compared to Illinois, where it's like 21%?
So I hate to, I get where you're going with this, but you're not really doing apples to apples here, because the population of each state is very different. The population density of each of those states is very different. I get where you're coming from, and I agree with you, but I think it would be better to try to take a look at maybe Tennessee versus New York State or something, or I don't know, as far as gun deaths go, just to try to get something
density of population.
Yeah,
you're talking about
get it kind of closer there with the population.
Well, I lost that on the.
Not to be combative, I'm just saying
this is actually where nuanced conversations are beneficial.
Yeah,
because he's right about it at a certain level, and you're right about it at a certain level. So but we're trying to come out with what do we want to utilize in our own society? Like, how do we want to be more protected?
Yeah.
Do we want the government to say no one can have guns here because it'll make you safer? Well, they tried that in Chicago. I don't think it works.
Yeah, it doesn't work at all. And you know what? They blame Illinois, or they blame Indiana for that.
Yeah.
They say they go across the border and buy guns.
Yeah.
Well, you can't buy a gun in Indiana without an Indiana driver's license.
Well, and if you have a criminal history, you can't go across to Indiana and buy one either.
Yeah, that's right. So, and I guess another one of the percentages, if you wanted to take for example, Texas and New York have pretty much identical number of people, but there is a far larger gun ownership in Texas than there is in New York. But New York's not so good because it's not as bad. But you take Illinois and Indiana. The gun ownership in Indiana is about 45%. And the gun ownership in Illinois is about 22%. And Illinois has more people than Indiana, but they're side by side. And who do you think has more murders? They have more murders in a weekend in Chicago than we have in this city in 2 years.
Yeah, Chicagoland is where most of Illinois' gun deaths come from, though. I mean, that's...
Oh, no, East St. Louis is pretty nasty, too. And
that's true.
That's it.
But that's due to...
Gary, Indiana is pretty nasty, too. But, this city, we might have 5 murders a year, 5 or 6.
Oh, I bet it's way more than that. Yeah. I bet it's more than that. I was just kind of trying to look at densities and things, but I can't quite find. So Illinois had 1,800 firearm deaths in 22, where Tennessee had...
Illinois had...
What did you say? What? Can you repeat what you just said?
Yeah.
Illinois, in 2022, there were 1,800 firearm deaths in Illinois.
You said 18. You left out the 100.
No, you didn't. You didn't hear the 100.
It was 1,800 firearm deaths in Illinois in 22. And then in I was using Tennessee because I know they have much higher gun ownership. They had 1,480
The best way to search that if you're using Grok or AI is to say per capita.
Yeah.
Still.
I just thought it was too, so I'm just going between multiple. I'm doing my own searches. I'm not using a Grok or anything. But
yeah.
But anyway, I don't know. I thought Wyoming and Illinois was an unfair comparison.
Yeah, L.A. and Chicago are
Montana. The entire state of Montana has half the number of people in it that Chicago does, perhaps 1/3, and their deaths. If Illinois only had 1,800 gun deaths, but they had 200 shootings over the 4th of July. Not all of those were lethal, but it's just a tremendous amount.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think Chicago should probably outlaw guns. That would probably fix the problem.
Wouldn't that be great? They ought to outlaw drugs, too.
Yeah, exactly.
How's that working for everybody else?
No, I know.
There's tons of fentanyl coming into this country.
Yeah, I wonder how much is coming now through the Canadian border versus Mexican border.
All of it.
Is most of it coming from the north?
Yeah, because, either that or it's getting snuck in through Florida or California.
Or the Gulf of America.
Gulf of America.
Well.
All right, well, I think we wrapped up the free speech and the importance of the information that we're paying attention to and what can or cannot get omitted. Could be much more harmful than any of the bad words or offense that you might take from the things that you hear. We've got a couple different paths we're going to go on. I definitely want to hit on RFK's big bombshell announcement. I got his post. I was going to try an AI something again, and I don't know if it'll work. It's maybe a little bit too long.
That's what she said.
Bear with me for just 1 second here.
I don't think you heard me. That's okay.
What'd you say?
No,
What? What'd you say?
Nothing.
Come on now.
It was just me being childish. It's okay.
Well, anyway, I'm just going to kind of skim the top. So I've been critical of RFK. There are things that I think he's not doing a great job on. This.
Let me show your screen.
Yeah, let me pump it up here. There we go. So he posted this, I believe this was yesterday, and it's talking about the 1986 Vaccine Act, giving vaccine makers immunity against lawsuits who suffer childhood injury. And the Vaccine Injury Compensation Program was put into place for anyone who got injured from a vaccine. Like every vaccine that was sold, $1 and something was put into this fund, and that program was supposed to make it super easy for anytime there was harm. Kids and families are supposed to get quick access and little to no hurdles. Ironically, in the Senator Edward Kennedy, when children are victims of appropriate and rational national policy, a compassionate government will assist them in their hour of need.
Ain't he dead?
He is, I believe, dead.
Yeah.
But what he is, the structure of how it has changed over the years has made it very challenging for anyone. Like, I think up to half of vaccine injuries that are reported and people try to get compensation from are just summarily blocked, so they don't even look at them, and others take 5+ years to resolve. So let's just take if your kid gets vaccine injured, let's just say it is autism. They get autism, like instantaneous autism, or they have a major defect that happens within hours or days of getting a vaccine. Basically, the family is stuck with that for up to 5 years without any compensation, without any help. So it really, I mean, it just breaks families. It breaks families in a major way. And so what he's promised to fix the VICP program. He will not allow it to continue to ignore the mandate or fail its mission of quickly, fairly compensating vaccine injured individuals. So I think that was one of the good things that he was able to report. We had talked about the 1986 Vaccine Act multiple times on this program, and it just so happens that the correlation of injury and autism started to skyrocket right around that same time. And we don't have enough data to say absolutely that it's because of vaccines, but there is definitely a lot of information coming down the pipeline. With that said, I do have 2 clips here that I think are relevant to the vaccine narrative, and these are, I think, fairly recent. I'm going to get it playing here in just 1 second. Hello, what are you doing? My screen's not wanting to cooperate.
Oh,
now I don't have sound.
Well, yeah, I've got it down. I was letting you get everything.
Oh, okay. Go ahead and give me sound. I won't worry about it.
Okay, you got it.
Mr. Siri, do you want to describe why it's appropriate for HHS Secretary Kennedy to actually do some research on vaccines? I'm quite sure, tell me if I'm wrong here, but when Mr. Kennedy pressed Fauci for the random controlled blind placebo trials on childhood vaccines, oh yeah, we've done all kinds of them. Couldn't produce one. I know in testimony we've had other officials of the CDC or FDA ask the same question. They just can't come up with them. So can you set the record straight in terms of what studies have actually been done on the vaccines on the childhood schedule?
Absolutely. So in my 66-page submission, I set out every single routine childhood vaccine on the CDC schedule today with sources citing to the FDA underlying clinical trial documents that confirm. So if you dispute this term, you got to argue with the FDA. Not a single routine childhood vaccine on the current schedule, other than the Covaxin licensed for 12 and older, was licensed based on a clinical trial in which the control group received a placebo. And if the control group received another vaccine, that vaccine was also not licensed based on a placebo-controlled trial. That is all set forth in here. It is categorically accurate, a placebo meaning. But to answer your question, why look at the safety of of childhood vaccines? And the answer, I think, is this. We should be looking at all environmental insults, because we are in the midst right now of a pandemic. There's been a lot of talk. We got to be ready for the next pandemic. We have a pandemic right now. It's a pandemic of chronic disease amongst our children. Over 50% of kids in America have a chronic disease right now. That's up from under 13% in the early 80s. What's changed? What has caused massive immune dysregulation to occur amongst our children? Why do I say that? Because most of the chronic diseases that we've seen exploding, asthma, you go down the list, have an etiology in being a form of immune dysregulation. And I've set that forth in my submission as well. So you have an explosion in chronic disease since the early 80s. Most of those chronic diseases are a form of immune dysregulation. What has changed in terms of might be causing the immune systems of our children in mass to go haywire? Well, maybe we should start by ruling out the fact that we have gone from 3 injections on the CDC schedule in 1986, the year the National Child Vaccine Draft was passed, to currently, if a child gets the full CDC schedule, follows it today, by 1 year of age, gets 29 injections, including in utero, okay? 3 to 29. And every one of those vaccines, as I mentioned earlier, was clinical trialed and licensed by a company knowing they would not be liable for design defect claims. We need to study that,
so maybe
like
maybe
everything
else.
else.
Okay.
First,
That's
Trump
it.
called up.
So that was a little bit of a repeat of what we've already talked about, but it's kind of hitting to the same point here, and we're going to get to that.
Yeah, I don't remember if you recall, but I don't know, 6 months ago or something, I brought up the fact that even the trial for COVID, they threw away all of the placebo candidates because halfway through the trial, they decided that it was, I already forgot the term that was in the article that I said even, but due to the fact that they claimed such efficacy of the vaccine, they gave the vaccine to the placebo group. Good Lord, about halfway through the trial because they felt it was that due to humanity or whatever, they should give it to them. So we don't even have a placebo clinical trial for the COVID shot even. But anyway.
That's right. Roy, I'm assuming you don't have, since you didn't chime in there, you didn't have anything to add to that.
No, I was still looking up death rates from gun
okay.
places.
Keep digging.
You know what place in the
we're going back to guns
in the U.S.
I'm a huge 2A guy.
The highest percentage per capita
of what?
Of gun death.
Percentage capita gun death. Mississippi.
Mississippi's third.
Oh,
Louisiana.
Louisiana's
Georgia.
fourth.
Georgia.
No.
Oh, no. Okay, I thought Atlanta.
District of Columbia.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Where guns are totally outlawed.
Yep.
In the District of Columbia.
Baltimore is terrible too.
Well, I didn't see what Maryland was.
Well, Maryland's very small, but I know Baltimore is a.
But this was per capita.
Yeah.
On there, it was 23 per 100,000.
Wow.
Dang.
Crazy.
Maybe they should do something about that.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to listen to another clip. Dr. Roy's probably going to go off and find some more gun stats, and we'll come back.
Dude,
I was listening to everything this guy said.
You know. I mean, you've heard a lot of this. I just don't think the audience has heard. This is more recent data. This is what's coming down the pipeline. And again, I'm not saying this to be, to make people vaccine hesitant. Recent numbers I've heard, I think less than 40% of people are confident in vaccine scheduling right now. So the number, the good news is I think there's a lot of proving that has to be done for people to get the trust back.
Well, I can tell you about the immune diseases that come out. Asthma is one, but allergies to certain things like peanuts. When I was a kid, everybody ate peanuts.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody was allergic to peanuts, peanut butter, anything like that. Now you got to put them in a frickin' bubble to send them to school because they might get sneezed at by somebody who ate peanut butter.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest one because if we send anything to my child's class to celebrate or anything, it has to be prepackaged off the shelf, so my wife can't make something, and it has to say on it that it contains no peanut byproduct or blah 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 or whatever. They require that of us.
And the next thing they'll require is that no GMO, and what's the other one?
Gluten.
Yeah, no gluten. Well, it's not.
I don't know if they're there yet.
Not the gluten that causes the problem. It's the shit they put on the grain.
Right.
It's the fact that the bread won't mold after 6 weeks of sitting on your counter.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think didn't the peanut allergy thing come from, or at least the speculation is, because I guess peanut butter has been such a huge part of our diet. If your kid gets a vaccine, their body's basically immune system is on alert for the whatever germ that was put. I'm not saying it right, but whatever the thing was put in their arm. But if they have peanuts in that same window of time, it can actually cause your body to reject peanuts because you ate peanut butter when your immune system was compromised.
Got a little bit of that live virus in there.
Yeah. Here we go.
To try and understand and to warn the world about the real dangers of the MMR vaccine. I even vaccinated my child after I had Billy because I was so pro-vaccine and so into the system. Just the MMR was the problem. But then we got out on the bus. We took a bus and we traveled around America, listening to parents around America, what had happened to them when they vaccinated their children. And what we saw was utterly horrific. We saw so much death following baby vaccines. These parents would vaccinate their perfectly healthy child, and then their child would die. We saw a video at the beginning of this about the whooping cough. I've interviewed so many parents, and one comes to mind, Carrie Bundy's baby. At 4 months old, she pleaded with the doctor, "Should I vaccinate my child? He's premature." "Oh, yes," said the pediatrician. "If you don't vaccinate your baby, he could die of whooping cough." She vaccinated that baby, and he was dead in his crib following that. That is the same story we hear over and over again. These childhood vaccinations, the people of America are telling us they are not safe and effective. We are seriously concerned at Children's Health Defense about the disinformation and misinformation out there, being told these vaccines are safety trialed, the safety studies are so good. Yet all we see is death and destruction. over and over again. Babies, teenagers, HPV Gardasil, their ovaries are shutting down. They cannot have children anymore. The parents are reporting paralysis. Children paralyzed from the waist down. You shout out about polio to us. I have never seen so many crippled children around America. So many children in wheelchairs, unable to walk, talk, speak, on ventilation. Parents are trying to tell their story while putting a feeding tube down their child's to bleed out the lungs, bring out the lungs while they're trying to tell us what has happened. 2 little 2-year-olds who can't hold their heads up because they had one Hep B vaccine. And then you shout out about measles to us. Those 2 girls in Gaines County, they did not die of measles. Children's Health Defense have seen the medical records. We have had experts break down. Yet still, I sit here and I hear over and over again that those 2 girls died of measles. They did not die of measles. And yet, the press and others consistently shout out that vaccines are safe and effective. They are, vaccinate your family. We all vaccinated our families. Everybody sitting here, bar 2, vaccinated their families with catastrophic results. Over 12,000 signatures on those 2 buses of death, death, death.
Okay.
She would have more credibility if she didn't have a foreign accent.
Yeah.
I mean, what the hell is she doing in the USA?
She was probably kicked out of her country for speaking out about vaccines.
Well, it's a British accent.
Yeah. But they're not allowed to talk about it there.
I know.
She maybe came here to get protected.
That's right.
So, I mean, there's something to be said about that. She's passionate, and I got one.
And she's right in many ways.
Or at least, again, we've come to the same point in the road where we could argue there might be some good things about some vaccines, and I'm not a doctor, I'm not an expert. I'm just listening to people like this, looking at data, changing narratives, and I think we're on the right track to at least start getting some changes.
Well, I'll tell you about whooping cough. It can be horrible in babies and children, and it's horrible in adults too, because I personally have treated about 6 people with adult whooping cough, and they literally cough all day, all night for 6 or 8 weeks. It does not respond to antibiotics. It does not respond very well to steroids, and it doesn't respond to anti-cough things. So they basically cough for 6 weeks. It's horrible.
Yeah, so I mean, we obviously want to look at all methods and potential help for that, and the best way to prevent it. I mean, I think
let's all wear masks again. that worked.
Well, what it seems like, as we rolled out with COVID, and COVID put a spotlight on it, Dr. Roy. But whenever we started to, we heard people talking about hydrochloroquine and hydroxychloroquine. Thank you, and ivermectin and all these alternative treatments that got rapidly shut down, and you couldn't talk about it. Now you wonder, it didn't happen at the same scale because in 1986 and before, there wasn't mass media and there wasn't social media and there wasn't ability to talk to somebody on the other side of the country. Yeah. So whatever the health department told us or whatever our doctor told us, that was the gospel.
That's right.
And so and I understand there's people that think questioning vaccines is dangerous. But if you really believe that, what I want you to do, the gentleman that sat down in front of Congress and had, he laid it out there. There is no clinical trial that are randomized, controlled, on record. And if you're okay with just trusting somebody that rolled out an mRNA vaccine and they're still calling it useful today.
But the thing about it was that just gets me burning is that the FDA approved all of these things without any trials.
Money, money, money.
Yeah, and that was back when you spent a year at the FDA, and then the rest of your life you were making money by the millions from the vaccine manufacturers.
Boom.
Yeah, so I I said I was only going to do one more. I have two more. I'm going to play this clip, and then I got another one. Dr. Rory and I have talked about medical school training.
Yeah.
And the impact of vaccines and what doctors do and don't know about vaccines whenever they're recommending them. Let's listen to this one first, even though I would have queued that up, I think, if I had to go over it.
Well, Bobby, the reason we get a lot more now is because everything gets a diagnosis these days.
I'm sorry. This clip breaks in. They're talking about autism now.
Every kid has at least 2 diagnoses for what we used to just call behavior. So now they're putting all these kids on the autism spectrum because that is that is kind of like the fashion of the moment. That's the answer to why we're seeing more. Do you accept that?
No, that is nonsense. It is an absurd, industry-driven canard. There's been study after study after study in high gravitas journals by the best research organizations and institutions and universities around this country that shows that the autism epidemic is real. And Chris, it's also just common sense. If it was just a matter of better diagnosis or better recognition, you would see it in older people. You don't. The epidemic is taking place in a specific generation, and it's kids who were born after 1989. That's where you see it. You don't
They're
see,
adults
it's
now.
Not, you don't see autism. 1 in every 31 people my age. I have never seen somebody my age, 71 years old, with full-blown autism. That means profound autism. That means nonverbal, non-toilet trained, head banging, stimming, all the stereotypical features of the disease. You don't see that. And these are not people who are locked in some institution somewhere. There are no places for people like that.
Right.
And so why, if it was anything other than an epidemic, why would you only see it in a single generation?
Well, it's more than a generation, you know. They're talking about kids in 1989. They're all grown-ups now. And I think a lot of them are out there still living with their parents.
Yeah, they are adults now, but I think he was getting at the fact that you don't see it in anybody born before that, is all he was saying, really. Or I'm
on the spectrum, and I'm 75
but you don't have full-blown autism.
Yeah,
he's talking about full-blown autism.
Yeah. It is a different, I mean, it's clearly there's different things going on. I mean, look, I understand we're kind of from a small town, and there were people that had some serious debilitations and and whatever. But looking back throughout my childhood, you just don't see the numbers of people that you see now that have problems, and some of it's communication, I guess.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. So I don't know if you got any more to say on that, either one of you.
No.
Okay.
No.
So I'm going to do this particular clip on medical schools, and then we're going to pivot to a different topic real quick. Hopefully I can get it queued up pretty fast here. I'm getting better, Travis.
You're getting better.
So, Dr. Barkey, what brings you here? And I said, well, Mr. Kennedy, to be honest with you, I'm trying to figure out whether you're a crazy anti-vaxxer or there's actually something to your message. I literally said that to him.
Wow.
And he looked at me, he goes, well, I hope after you hear me speak that you'll agree with me and that you'll believe what I believe. I'm like, all right. And as I sat there and listened to him lay out the evidence about vaccines and injuries and so forth, I remember about halfway through the talk, I got tears in my eyes, feeling so regretful that I had poisoned my children. Now, thank God they're fine.
Me too.
But I had fully vaccinated my adult children.
Me too.
Throughout their life. I'm like, I can't believe what I'm hearing. For literally the first time, I would never otherwise pay attention to it because I was indoctrinated like most doctors. That really began my quest to start reading package inserts. What doctors read package inserts? Nobody. First of all, they're difficult to read. They're like an 8-point font. They're very scientific-y and written in legalese.
AI is going to help now.
They're impossible to read.
Yeah.
So I started
Huge.
literally reading them and teaching myself how to read them. I saw consistency in the package insert, the same sections. I didn't know that before. I could find the ingredients pretty quickly. Then I started training myself how to read the studies that brought the product to market. They're required to be put in the package insert. And as I would read them, I would look at them and go, this is garbage. This isn't an actual study. And to whatever extent there's benefit, the benefit is so minuscule that it's almost not worth even looking at. Same thing with drugs, by the way. Name tag, Dr. Barkey says, so Dr. Barkey, what brings you here?
We're back
and
to
I
the
said,
top.
well,
All right. So in the show notes of what this particular clip, what he says is a medical school doesn't train doctors to question the schedule, it trains them to follow it. They memorize the CDC recommendations, but not science behind them. Yeah. And if they do question it, they risk being censored, smeared, or stripped of their license.
Agreed.
And so that's a conundrum that we find ourselves in right now, and why this science has gone off the rails. And so, hopefully, again, us talking about it, more and more people talking about, doctors talking about it. And, the goal for me doing this quasi-local regional podcast is, if you feel compelled to share these clips with someone someone that's thinking about having a child, or someone that's questioning whether they should do vaccines, obviously informed consent. Talk to your doctor. You can contact Dr. Roy if your doctor's not saying things that you want to hear, or if he's not open or she's not open to questioning or hearing your real concerns. There's a problem. But again, they are golden handcuffs and
golden handcuffs and golden duct tape. That's basically, the doctors are held by their higher ups to do exactly what the higher ups say, and the higher ups are typically not medical trained, and that's why I have a healthcare master's degree and all these people were saying, well, I've got an MHA. I know more than you do. And I said, I got an MHA and an MD. Now let's see who knows more.
Gotcha.
Well, I have a 37, almost 37-year-old daughter, and we gave her all the injections that she ever needed, and that's probably why she turned up to be a lefty.
That's the disease of all diseases, right
it
there.
Is.
You needed the button to
yeah.
That's what if you needed one at any time.
Yeah.
Oh no, that was wrong.
Oh, that's the wrong one.
I went the wrong direction.
Yeah, my bad.
That's right.
Anyway,
so let's pivot. We've got away. Let's get away from the doom and gloom just a little bit. Even though most there you go.
I got it back down.
All right, there we go. That's for rewind back.
Better
to
late
Doc's
than
joke.
never, right?
Back to Doc's joke.
Yeah. That's true. It's not a joke.
Joke? What are you talking about?
Screaming, hanky twisting lefty.
Well, she probably would not like hearing.
She probably doesn't. She won't know. She doesn't listen to us.
Yeah, she's blocked me in every type of thing.
I'm sorry about that. So I don't know how much we really talked about the massive cuts that were made to NPR and PBS.
Oh yeah, I love
but
that.
I got this whole clip. We're not going to go through the whole clip because I think just the first 3 minutes. But I recommend. I think this guy's podcast is named Dad Saves America, and this is a particular one is a 16-minute 59 clip. So if you look for, you can if you want to find the link. Say Congress just made massive cuts to NPR and PBS on YouTube, and you'll find this clip. We're going to listen to the first 3 minutes of it and then have a conversation.
Going back to the COVID times, this is what our kids were being subjected to at taxpayer expense.
And now, a message from Arthur.
I gotta call Buster. Hey, Arthur. Hey, Buster. Did you see that video?
Yeah, I just watched it. It was awful. I can't believe someone would be hurt like that.
They're talking about the George Floyd death.
Just because they're black.
Racism is so unfair.
Racism is like a disease. If you don't treat it, it's just going to get worse.
And then, of course, in comes the teacher to fill in the kids on a sort of critical race theory, Ibram X. Kendi, identity Marxism story.
Wait, if racism is a disease, can I get it?
Buster, don't worry. This isn't about you.
Actually, it is. It's about all of us.
About you, Buster. If racism is like a disease, can I get it? What have we become? This was 2020, not 1960.
It's not enough to just say, I'm not racist. It's not my problem. We have to actively fight against racism.
2020 really broke everything, but it shined a light on these institutions that we, the people, are forced to pay for.
Do you have your mask? You're gonna wear a mask, right?
Only sick people need masks, Francine, and I am not sick.
What?
Although I did stub my toe in the pool, I have this little bruise which you can
Earth
totally see when I wear sandals.
Earth to Muffy. If you're going out in public, you 100% need a mask.
How do I look?
Like a kind and thoughtful person who cares about other people.
I've been in these writers' rooms and been the odd man out who's sometimes had to bite my tongue and keep my mouth shut. And they're open-hearted people, to be perfectly honest. They're just captured in their bubble.
You were super duper today, getting your COVID vaccine, Elmo.
Yeah, there was a little pinch, but it was okay. Elmo was really glad to have Daddy and baby David there with him.
Just can't even stand it. This was not necessary.
Baby David, where are you?
I had a lot of questions about Elmo getting the COVID vaccine. Was it safe? Was it the right decision?
Will he
dead
get
now?
myocarditis?
Yeah.
Is it a wholly unnecessary application of a drug that isn't necessary because the fatality rate for my son is practically zero? Oh, wait, no, he didn't get any of that because he's on PBS.
I talked to our pediatrician so I could make the right choice. I learned that Elmo getting vaccinated is the best way to keep himself, our friends, neighbors, and everyone else healthy and enjoying the things they love.
That's right, because, of course, it's going to keep him from contracting the virus and spreading it, even though it definitely won't keep him from spreading it, and they knew that right from the beginning. This is...
And I still see people walking through Walmart with a mask on.
So again, I'm supportive of the people that I know and love locally that have worked for public broadcasting. Great people.
I feel
They're
like
my
that's
friends.
like the North Korea TV that like they just have to show you what the government wants you to see.
But
yeah,
if you can listen to those clips and not understand why taxpayers would be outraged by the programming put in front of our kids, like. Most people, do you sit and watch Elmo whenever you put your kids in front of the watch? You know, are they watching Sesame Street and are you listening to the messaging that's coming? No, you're in doing dishes or laundry or getting ready for.
Saying. No, yeah,
you know,
right.
And so a lot of this stuff just trickles in. You don't get to filter it. And so, to me, I don't understand how people can't acknowledge that this is wrong. And so now we don't have to worry about it anymore because they've been defunded for all intents and purposes. No comment from Dr. Roy.
Well, no, and you know, I think NPR should have been defunded years ago because they are so far lefting that they don't even know they are. And if they had gotten to the point where they had both sides come in, like some of the people do. Now, obviously, I can't say that MSNBC does, but. You know, Fox News tries, anyhow. But
at least for those lefties who will come on there, they sometimes have trouble getting them on there.
Yeah, that's right. Nevertheless, I tell you there's no difference between a fairy tale and what you hear on NPR. And you know, I know some people that work at the local areas, and I'm sorry, you know.
Well, I mean, as someone you've worked in private practice, you've had to grow your business and make hard decisions, you know, and earn your own, you know, find ways to make money to pay for things and make cuts when you didn't want to make cuts probably. And as a business owner, you know, I've had to do some very hard things that, you know, it's difficult. I don't like it. But at the end of the day, that's life. You know, if something happens, you got to make adjustments to it.
Well, they had a front page on the newspaper today the Courier Press that, oh my God, what is it? The Planned Parenthood is going to be closed in Evansville. Guess what? They never did a single abortion here.
Oh, really?
No.
Oh.
No, they shipped all the abortions to Bloomington. They did a lot of other stuff, giving out, free
medications,
contraception.
Yeah.
Yeah, they may have done some abortions with medications here, because I just didn't hear about it. But
I mean, would you Plan B or something? I mean, that kind of
well,
stuff.
you can buy Plan B,
Well, that's
but
true.
you can't. That won't kill the fetus if you're already pregnant. Plan B will keep you from getting pregnant, and you can get that without a prescription.
Yeah, but you can get it within a certain amount of time of actually
Yeah.
conceiving, right?
Yeah, and that's not considered abortion.
Oh.
You have to.
I think some would consider that abortion, because I mean, if
Well, I mean, certain religions consider contraception as abortion.
Yeah.
You can't.
like as a Catholic, you're not supposed to use
Yeah,
contraception.
as,
at all. Yeah.
Yeah, Ascension will not allow people to get contraceptives.
Ascension.
Yeah.
Health.
Ascension
Hospital.
Health, yeah.
It's Catholic. It's a Catholic institution.
Oh yeah, I guess it is. Oh,
Yeah.
But I never thought about it.
Yeah, because I had a lot of patients who went to Ascension and got their medications there, and they said, "Oh, you'll have to send my contraceptives to CVS," and I said, "Of course, no problem."
Yeah.
All right, we're going to pivot. I think you sent me something on George Floyd. Were you wanting me to share?
You don't have to. It's something for you. It's a really funny little like AI skit that they did, and it's for the.
Might be a little off-putting to some.
Yeah, oh yeah. It's, I mean, there's nothing like there's no bad language or anything, but it's for the drug comply.
Oh, okay.
You'll survive if you comply.
I'm going to watch that.
It's funny.
I may put that in podcast 62. This is 61.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's pretty good.
If I think the audience will get a chuckle, I'll share it.
I mean, it's not the fact that he died is not funny, but he died of an overdose and complications of drugs, and not complying. Like that's the whole point. Like but anyway, I digress.
So, not a conspiracy theory, but a theory. I'm a body hack, life hacker. So I'm into trying things. Me and Dr. Roy are both wearing orange glasses because we have done research and heard enough to believe that blocking blue light after the sun goes down, which the sun is still up right now, but I'm still wearing these glasses right now.
I wear them when I'm inside.
Anytime lights are on or watching TV. At night, after the sun goes down, I have orange glasses on all the time. I will say my sleep patterns are so much better. I sleep like a rock every night. My digestive is better. But one of the things that I have dealt with, and so I mentioned it on a podcast that we'd done earlier.
Yeah.
That I've had acid reflux sometimes. Like if I eat a little bit too late, like past 5 o'clock, and especially if I have pizza or something that's, I guess, fat or heavy or whatever, I'll get acid reflux in the middle of the night, and I'll just wake up and I feel like I'm gonna
cough and
vomit.
Yeah.
Throwing up, choking on my own whatever acid. So one of the hacks that I found was taking a teaspoon of vinegar into water and drinking it before a later meal as a way to put acid in the stomach so your body can naturally break down the food. Because acid reflux isn't too much acid in your stomach; it's actually a lack of acid in your stomach, and your food is not getting broken down.
Right, and it's so crazy because it's the acid in your stomach that bothers you, but you can reflux other things beside acid. Human beings were not supposed to need hydrochloric acid in their stomachs. That's back when we were living in the trees and eating bark and
grazers or hunters.
All that kind of stuff. But no, it was even before being hunters and grazers.
Okay.
It was when we were guerrillas. but we don't need it. People who don't have any acid in their stomach, and you can test for that, they have as much problems as people who have acid in their stomachs. Mm-hmm. And you can't absorb vitamin B12 unless you have a little bit of acid in your stomachs.
So if you don't have acid in your stomachs, can you drop acid and get it? No, I'm kidding. I'm sorry.
You fella.
Don't pull on me, Doc. Don't.
Yeah. Do people still drop acid?
I have no idea. I've never.
I believe so.
A 70s thing.
Probably. Maybe they do shrooms or what's the other thing now?
Yeah, shrooms.
Well, yeah, but
shrooms will make you crazy.
Anyway,
there's some potential good things that come from mushrooms. There's a lot of that we can talk about later.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, so this is a clip from the diary of a CEO. This gal's name is Jessica, and she has a vinegar hack. And there's several clips. I don't know if we'll go through all of them. They're really short.
A vinegar hack?
Yeah.
Does she cough a lot?
You guys have got all kinds of humor today. I like it.
Yes. So this is cider vinegar.
But any vinegar works. You don't have to buy expensive vinegar. It doesn't have to be organic, unfiltered, whatever. Just kitchen vinegar works.
Can I try it straight? I've actually never really drinking.
Okay, but if your dentist is upset, it's not my fault.
Okay. Well, so Jessie told me to drink this straight.
You shouldn't drink it straight.
No.
She's an expert. She said she's a scientist.
Don't drink it straight.
That's acid on your teeth.
Yeah, you're not supposed to do that, Stephen.
No, I'm sorry. But it's not that bad, but it's not something that I would do for fun.
Yeah, but also if you want to have vinegar straight, you need to get higher quality vinegar. There's some vinegars that taste really, really good. But in our case, we're just trying to get the acetic acid, and we don't need high quality, expensive vinegar. We can just do like really cheap vinegar. And this is we just put 1 tablespoon. This is a good hack if you have a parent that has diabetes and they don't want to change anything about their lifestyle. Just get them to add this before their meals when they're eating carbs, and you'll see a good impact on their glucose levels. Okay, so I'm mixing it like this.
You didn't put much in there.
I put a tablespoon. It's a tablespoon.
And even that small amount, it looked like you kind of filled the lid.
I filled the lid twice, basically, which is approximately 1 tablespoon, I think. Because this is probably this is half a tablespoon, I would say.
Okay.
I've done this before. And now you can't taste anything.
You're telling me that will have an impact?
Absolutely, and the studies prove it.
I can't taste anything.
Yeah.
Maybe because I just had a big shot.
Yeah, I think so.
That's probably why.
Yeah.
I even meet people on the street, or like my readers and stuff, and they'll show me that in their purse they have a little bottle of vinegar they take with them. It's super easy. And I was very skeptical, and I think everybody was super skeptical about the vinegar thing until the studies were widely read. It's an amazing ingredient that's been used for millennia for its health benefits, but now we understand how it works. It has impact on visceral fat, on cholesterol levels, on glucose, and on insulin levels.
Why not
it's
just
a
eat
magical ingredient. It's super cheap.
Pickles.
So have some vinegar. But be very careful. Now, a lot of big brands are jumping on this and are making vinegar drinks that have sugar in them. So you want straight vinegar. You don't want anything that has even a tiny bit of apple juice or sugar. Straight vinegar.
All right, so that's clip one. And that was just... I don't know if you have any thoughts on that. It's pretty basic.
Well, I still take omeprazole to keep me from waking up in the middle of the night coughing. Mm-hmm. I'll give this a try and come back and tell you how I am.
Would you take Neprosol and this, or would you take?
No, I'd quit the omeprazole.
Okay.
The last time I quit taking the omeprazole, I coughed all night for a week or two until my partner threatened to kick me out of the house.
So when you take omeprazole, is that what you said? Is that what you're calling it?
Omeprazole.
If you take that one time, you don't have an issue that night, or is it something that you have to have a residual buildup?
It lasts 24 hours.
Okay, but you don't have to take it for a week for it to do its job. It basically
it works pretty quick.
Okay. So it'll be interesting to me. I don't know if a tablespoon of vinegar would be kind of the same quick effect.
I'm going to get some white vinegar out from under my cabinet.
Don't bring race into this.
I got apple cider. I bought some apple cider vinegar.
I've got apple cider too, but it's got junk floating around in it.
Well, it's apple. It's the stuff from the fruit. It is apple.
So just so you know, I'd still prefer shots of bourbon, not shots of vinegar. Just so we're clear.
There you
bourbon has the wrong thing in it. It doesn't have any acid in it.
No. I mean my payment. He doesn't pay me, so he used to pay me in shots of bourbon, but
yeah,
we got away from that for a minute.
That's okay.
You went on this health kick.
I have, and
Dr. Roy was looking at me when I took the big gulp. I think he thought I was drinking straight tequila when I did that.
Oh yeah. I mean, that was pretty good tequila though.
It was pretty good. We'll bring that back.
We need to have liquor hour again.
I think we should. All right, so I'm going to play.
I'm a non-participant in that.
You just smiled. That's not very good for you.
Yeah, being a very doctor, you don't need to be drinking.
Well, I know a bunch of doctors that are heavy drinkers.
I know a bunch of, well, not a bunch, but I know doctors that would preach one thing but do the complete opposite just because.
Oh yeah.
You know,
well, the joke is the doctor asks the guy how much he drinks, and he says, "I don't drink any more than you do, doctor." And the doctor says, doesn't do that. But
what does it do as I say, not as I do?
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
All right, next clip.
If you put a chicken in the oven, it goes from pink to brown, right? You've seen this. It cooks.
Yeah.
This process of cooking is called glycation. It's the process of browning or of cooking. Same thing when you toast a piece of toast, for example. The interesting thing is, a human being, from the moment we're born, we're slowly cooking in that same way on the inside. We're slowly glycating. We're slowly browning. And then when we're fully glycated, when we're fully cooked, we die. That's why when you look at the cartilage of babies, it's white. And if you look at the cartilage of somebody who's 90 years old, it's brown. They've cooked on the inside. And every glucose spike increases this process of glycation. So much so that glucose and glycation, they kind of sound like a similar word. Glucose glycation. It's because it's glucose doing the glycating. Yep. So every glucose spike increases glycation, increases cooking, accelerates aging. And this shows on your skin. You get wrinkles faster if you glycate more, and also on the inside, your organs slowly get damaged. So, glucose spikes, mitochondria get tired, you age faster. In response to this, your body knows, Stephen, that a big glucose spike is not good for you. Your body knows that it has to do something to try to get that glucose level down. So what it does, it calls up your pancreas, and it's like, yo, pancreas, we got a glucose spike going on. We need to get this glucose down. In response, your pancreas sends a hormone called insulin out in your body. You've heard of insulin before, right? Mm-hmm. And insulin's job, and we love her job is to grab all these excess glucose molecules and to store them away so they don't damage your body anymore. And insulin stores glucose away into your liver, into your muscles, and then when those are full, insulin stores glucose away into your fat cells. And that's one of the ways that you gain fat on your body. Yep. It's in response to the spikes in your body trying to protect you from the spikes. The problem is, insulin itself has consequences and is the driver of type 2 diabetes and insulin resistance. So to answer your question, yes, when you see a big spike on your glucose monitor, there's some of that going on. And the more spikes you have, the harder it is going to be for your body to manage your spikes. So it kind of becomes a vicious cycle. If you keep eating the same way, your spikes will get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger over time.
So this just sounds logical to me. And the only reason I want to let you just talk all about it. What I want to say, when I found the vinegar hack, Travis, it was just because of acid reflux. Mm-hmm. And so I didn't really think about taking it regularly or even ponder what other effects it might have. And when you hear something like this, it's like, oh, well, maybe I need to be more disciplined about this, because if I can, I think, I don't know what the percentage of insulin resilience is now, or whatever.
Resistance?
Insulin resistance is, but
it's
I think more and more.
40%.
Yeah, so 40%. So if we can do something, a natural hack like this, a more natural hack, and lower our resilience, whatever. Resistance. Jeez, Pete, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
So I am gonna do it more regularly and just see, because if it helps with body fat, helps with the anti-aging part. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah.
Well, now wait a second. But what are you gonna do though?
Just a tablespoon of vinegar and water.
She's saying that has to do with that.
Well,
as well.
we've got another clip. Yeah, this is about vinegar. It's the same thing.
Well, I mean, I know it's the same woman, but vinegar was never even said in there. She was just talking about how insulin and glucose work together.
Insulin resistance.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. Not only can insulin be released from your pancreas when you take glucose, if you drink something that's sweet with an artificial sweetener in it,
You grilled me about that before.
Your brain goes to the pancreas and says, hey, we just took in a whole bunch of sugar, get ready. So they put out all the insulin, and if there's no glucose for the insulin to get rid of, it says, okay, we're going to make fat. And that's the thing. And insulin resistance is now in 40% of the population because they have been used to have so much insulin let off by drinking the sodas, by eating, sweet things, carbs,
seed oils,
any kind, seed oils,
all the stuff. A lot of the stuff we're trying to get rid of.
Right, right. And the only solution to that is either a GLP-1, which is the
Ozempic style, which I'm just hearing so much stuff about that. It's really causing me some concern.
Ozempic,
it's got some really bad side effects.
Tirzepatide. The tirzepatide is much safer.
Semaglutides.
Semaglutide is the bad one. Tirzepatide is much better, much better. But
I'm just thinking if we can go more natural, we don't have to inject these substances in our body. That
Please keep your pants on. You don't have to go natural.
Yeah. Well, I inject things in my body all the time.
Hey,
but yeah.
We're just talking. Do as I say, not as I do.
Because I have to. But there are tablets that are prescription that do the same thing. How do you think I lost 35 pounds in the last 9 or 10 months? Is I took metformin. And that and testosterone is how I've lost 35 pounds.
And you said you had to come off testosterone?
Oh God, yes. My tester, I was on too high a dose, and it was like 1,300, and the top end is like 600.
Is that why you got angry?
I had a dip. I had a dip of 1,000 nanograms in 4 days on that.
Tell that in English to the people that aren't doctors.
Okay. My testosterone level was 1,333.
And optimal is about 600 to 700, is that
yeah. And they drew it on Friday a week ago, and it was found out about it on Monday, and they said, okay, stop taking testosterone for 3 weeks.
And you would have got on. You would have got tested on a fast and before you took that shot, the next shot, right?
The next shot was Tuesday.
You were basically at the end of your cycle of
when they took that. Well, I was about in the middle because I give myself the shot on Tuesdays, and they took this on Friday.
Okay.
And
so you do Tuesday and Saturday?
No, just Tuesdays.
Just one day?
Yeah, 1 day a week. And then, so they said, okay, quit taking testosterone for 3 weeks. And holy shit, I had it tested again on Saturday after a week, and it was down by 1,000 nanograms.
Wow.
It went from 1,300 to 300.
So you were low then, basically.
Well, 300 is low normal.
Okay.
But if I hadn't started back on it, because my nurse practitioner was going apeshit over that, she said, okay, you can take 50 milligrams instead of 100 per day.
And then you'll retest again to see where you're at. Maybe.
Yeah, after about 6 weeks.
Okay.
Well, I took 50 milligrams today, and I feel so much better than I did that week and a half that it dove from 1,300 to 300 in about 4 days.
Wow.
And I was having, delirious thoughts. I couldn't sleep. I slept, but I had horrible dreams. I felt like I never got suicidal, but I had a lot of self-loathing, like, what a piece of shit you are.
Wow.
So it was, and I had tachycardia. My heart, the first night, or the third night, I guess, my heart beat at about 100 beats per minute for about 8 hours.
Wow. As a side effect of not taking it?
I guess. I don't know. It was, I told her and I told some other people, I said, it's almost like I'm getting off of heroin or something, which I've never
most people that I've talked to do 2 shots a week in a lower dose. 2 shots a week at a lower dose instead of 1 a week.
Yeah, I was doing 100 a week. But, you know, I lost a lot of weight with that. So anyway, I'm going back to 50. And we'll see
report back to us.
Yeah, I'll report back to you. But I took the shot this morning, and I feel a whole lot better. I don't want to.
Well, I think one of was it a couple of podcasts ago, maybe the last podcast, you seem like you were tired, you're lethargic. I guess you were already off of it by that point.
Yeah. I was.
Yeah. You hadn't told me about it, though.
Yeah, I was terribly lethargic. I fell asleep in my reclining chair, which I never do, and it was horrible. And, you know, if I hadn't taken a shot today, it probably would have been down below 200 by tomorrow. And, you know, men who have low testosterone, as you know and I know, it's nasty. You don't feel good at all.
That's right. All right, so we got into a good rabbit hole there, but I'm going to spin back around and finish this Vinegar series because these are nice short clips, and I think, and you can punch
Has she got to the part that they do vinegar enemas yet?
No, and I haven't got to. I know there are apple cider vinegar pills. I'm hesitant to do those because I'm sure they all come from China. And they've got the coating on them and stuff, which I'm not 100% sure that I want to. If I were to take them in a tablet form, I would want to make sure I trusted the.
Nah, just
do it.
Put it in a shot glass.
Yeah, and they can be made in America. It doesn't have to travel overseas. Here's another clip. This is a good one. If you're married or considering getting married, this is a good clip.
There's a great study I have to tell you about that was looking at married couples. So they recruited 300 married couples. They gave each person in the marriage a voodoo doll representing their spouse. So if you're in a marriage, you have a voodoo doll representing your husband or your wife. Scientists then asked the people to put a pin in the voodoo doll representing their spouse every time their spouse annoyed them for 6 weeks.
You wouldn't be able to see
the study, they took all the voodoo dolls, counted the pins. They also measured the participants' glucose levels. What they found, Stephen, is that
hang on.
annoyed them.
I want to make sure we skip
for 6 weeks. At the end of the study, they took all the voodoo dolls, counted the pins. They also measured the participants' glucose levels. What they found, Stephen,
what did they measure?
Those who had more variable glucose levels.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to make sure we get all this here.
And this is why we don't talk during clips.
Yeah. Well, it's good to talk. We just got to pause. We just got to pause. Which sometimes there's pause buttons that each one can have their own pause button and jump in and say something.
Who had more variable glucose levels, specifically those who had more low glucose level events, which happens after spikes, had put more pins in the voodoo doll representing their spouse. So their glucose levels seemed to be linked to how irritated they were with their partner. And then the scientists speculated that this had to do with a neurotransmitter called tyrosine. And the more glucose roller coaster you have going on, the lower your tyrosine levels. And tyrosine balances our mood. So the food you eat can impact your marriage, can impact how you show up with others, can impact how you feel about other people's behavior. It goes really deep. It's not just about diabetes. It impacts who you are as a person, your personality.
So if I stop eating sugar, it will save my marriage.
I mean, you said it. Even a marriage is a great study.
Right, that's it. That's a good one. It's interesting. And some of these things you might, I know this, the other part of it, the science part, you were agreeing with her. Something like that, it seems a little woo, but it's like, well, I mean, 300 participants.
Tyrosine
You could just have a really annoying partner.
Yeah, you could.
You could be married to me.
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
You know, that's why I pulled my knife out, you know, like the shower scene in
Psycho.
Psycho.
You know what they used for blood in that scene?
Ketchup.
No, Hershey syrup. Because it was black and white.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they used syrup. They used chocolate syrup. Anyway, continue. Sorry. Little tidbit.
No, so I mean, I'm not going to play the last video, but she recommends 4 daily hacks that everyone can do. That's very cheap, and you have to have.
I wonder how
vinegar.
much the vinegar companies are paying her for this.
Well, she doesn't. She says you can use apple cider. You can use standard white vinegar.
How can we trust big vinegar?
Yeah,
I mean, wait a second.
Big vinegar.
Big vinegar. Well, here's the thing, and no matter what it is, there's always somebody that's profiting off of whatever, whether it's food, or processed food, or sugar or not sugar. I mean, there's
the vinegar's cheap, and a tablespoon a day is not. Nobody's making big money on that.
I think I got 3 bottles at Sam's or Costco. It was like $8 of big bottles of. I mean, so whatever they're making, I'm not losing sleep over making that over, getting it from me. Her 4 daily hacks, what she recommends, and I don't eat breakfast, so.
And what foreign country is she from? Because she definitely has an accent.
I will give. I've got her. I knew you were going to ask this, so I did a grok.
She may be a French Canadian.
Jessie Inchasupe is a
Eastern European.
Is from France.
Oh, yeah.
She's a biochemist. And she worked for 23andMe. For a while, where she spent 5 years.
23.
No, we already did that.
Yeah,
but she found different. I mean, she's in research. She's a 23andMe research side.
So I have to say, you guys are like this so anti 23andMe or whatever. I did the 23andMe. I'm okay with doing it, and I was able to find some of my father's relatives because my father was adopted, and we had no idea who his biological family was.
You just gave your genetic code to the,
you gave your DNA to somebody who can use it against you.
That's okay. They could go through my trash and do the same thing.
Sure, I suppose, but
not nearly as easy as you sending it to them.
Yeah, they'd have to do the whole sequence.
I don't give a shit. But I was able to find some relatives I didn't know I had.
Well,
let me tell you, my partner had to do the same. She did the same thing. The other person who thought she didn't belong to her family went through 23andMe, and all of a sudden she was related to my partner's niece, and she called the partner's niece, and she said, "Well, I don't know anything about that because my father passed away a long time ago, and her father was my partner's older brother. But why don't you call XYZ, my partner, and talk to her about it?" And she went apeshit. She had hers done, and sure enough, they're half sisters.
So found a relative you didn't know you had, and not a great one.
Yeah, not
caused some conspiracy within the family.
Well, it turned out that. It's a good thing because their mother was deceased, but she kind of talked to my partner about it and said, "Well, he always comes home." But
there you go. Well, to wrap up the Jessie 4 daily hacks, she recommends a savory breakfast, which I don't eat breakfast, but savory just means not high in sugar, not high in carbs, eggs, bacon, that kind of thing. She says vinegar once per day, and your first food of the day should be a veggie starter. And the real cool thing is, like, you can do vinegar, oil and vinegar on vegetables and marinate them. Like there's tomatoes or whatever. There's all kinds of cool little ways that you can do that. So that's pretty easy. And then the 4th hack is move after eating every time. So whether it's get up, take a walk for 10 minutes or whatever. She just says 10 minutes of activity after eating, and basically it gets your digestion working faster, and it helps also keep the glucose spike down. So I think it's pretty good.
Other people would say that if you're doing intermittent fasting, that you should do your workout before you've eaten anything, and that'll work more because it'll
burn more when you're into the
burn fat.
What stage
ketosis.
Well, there's actually a different name for it for when you're fast. But anyway,
well, you get into ketosis. I mean, that's basically what it is. Your fat cells are burning.
Well, yeah. The thing about that is it takes you about a week and a half to get into ketosis.
No, it doesn't take you that long.
That.
It doesn't take you that long. I've done keto diet. I've also done meat only diet.
Yeah.
It takes me about 48 hours.
You've been dipping it? Have you been dipping it with a stick to see if
the hell are you talking about?
Your urine.
So there's a test that you can
know
where you're at.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I have a very clear symptoms of ketosis whenever I'm in ketosis.
Yeah.
I know
it took me a week before I could taste it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The tasting of it comes for me almost instantaneously. And I start shedding weight. I mean, if I go on a ketosis or meat only diet, I'll shed 10 pounds in the first week.
Yeah.
So I mean, you're in ketosis if you're shedding pounds. At that amount.
You're shedding.
So one story we definitely wanted to get to before we ended tonight was one of the big bombshells that most of the mainstream media will not talk about, isn't talking about.
Yeah.
Which implicates President Obama and potentially President Biden and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton of treason. So
and like Comey,
James Comey, and the other. So he's FBI. What was the other guy that was head of not DOJ?
He was the NSA.
Yeah, there's another guy. It starts with a B.
I won't talk about the Clintons. I want to live tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to dance on that one really light. Tread lightly, my friend. But for those of you that haven't heard the story or haven't heard the clips, I've got a series of a few clips here that I think it's a very interesting story. I think it's relevant and something that everybody needs to hear and know about. Just because if someone tries to say, if you're talking about it's like every other story that they've called people liars or conspiracy theorists and all that.
Yeah.
This has enough sources and enough actual factual information that you need to pay attention to it.
You're as always, you're an honest broker, but you've totally convinced me. This is actually, I think they're in deep shit. And it's amazing, but my biggest takeaway is how did Trump 1.0 not find these documents that Tulsi just revealed? Because they really show the story. But we're just going to walk the audience through it like third graders because it's extremely dense. And it's taken me time and time again and reading all the materials to get it. So the deal was, let's start with let's go back to December of 2016. Barack Obama's president, but Trump has won and is going to be taking over as president in January. And they planned, the intel officials under Barack Obama planned, a lot of this is from Racket News, which everybody should read directly, Matt's group. Intel officials planned a December 9th, 2016 presidential daily brief, which is always from the intel community for the president, letting him know what's happening in the world. They planned a PDB that would say foreign adversaries, quoting here, foreign adversaries did not use cyber attacks on election infrastructure to alter the U.S. presidential election outcome. And they also plan to say, we have no evidence of cyber manipulation of election infrastructure intended to alter results. Here's the bottom line. What people need to know is Obama's intel community was about to give Obama a presidential daily brief that totally dismissed, downplayed, poo-pooed, choose your word, the notion that Russia had meaningfully interfered in the 2016 presidential election. That's true. And by the way, Matt has gone well beyond the language that just speaks to manipulation of election infrastructure and pointed out that if you look at what the intel community had been saying, it went well beyond dismissing they're not attacking our election infrastructure. They had doubts up and down the board about whether Russia had done anything more in 16 than it had ever done, which was just kind of attempts to be a menace and sow a little bit of chaos. And the intel communications that are released now by Tulsi show that. So while Andy and others are zeroing in on the notion that before they sat with Obama, they were going to tell him no attempts to hack our election infrastructure. And Andy will later argue them later coming out and saying, but lots of attempts to interfere in the election in general and totally to help Donald Trump. He's saying that's apples to oranges. Jim Himes, you point out at Racket News, is saying that's apples to oranges. There's no gotcha in Tulsi's big reveals about what was about to happen next because nothing that happened next contradicted that they didn't try to hack our election databases.
All right, so I don't know what what is new to either one of you in that? Have you heard?
I knew all. Yeah,
You've heard.
I had already gone into all that. Yeah.
Okay, so just for me, the gut of it is, Obama heard from his intelligence agencies that while Russia had been trying to do election interference, just like we do in election interference in other countries, his intelligence officials told him that there was nothing of significance that happened. There's no way that they did any real manipulation. Not only that, Donald Trump was not working with Russia to try to get them to do anything, and they tabled that. Mm-hmm. And instead, they flipped the script and basically ran with the RussiaGate and impeachment for the next 3 years, which basically derailed Trump's first administration. Whatever you want to say about that, it's treason.
Yeah,
and I'm sorry that it's Obama, and
it was an attempt at a coup.
It was an attempt of a coup, and what you hear from bad actors in deep state doesn't matter if they're Democrats or the Republicans. What you typically will find is the people that are screaming the loudest and calling people names in that whole cycle. They were also saying that Trump was trying to have a coup on the government and not have a peaceful transition of power and all these things. It's actually the exact same thing that they were doing. Dr. Roy's using the restroom. Well, yeah, we're going to keep going. Well, Doc's just excused himself for a minute. He knows his way around. But at the end of the day, this kind of, to me, kills the entire Obama presidency. And there was a lot of things I didn't like about the guy as a president and his policies. A lot of things that he said, I really believed he didn't help racial tensions at all in a lot of ways. But this, to me, Travis, is it's alarming and disturbing. And it also, Biden knew about it, and you know that Hillary Clinton knew about it. And so all these people need to be. I don't understand how people aren't arrested already, or at least there's not some major movement going on in the Department of Justice. I don't know if you have an opinion on that.
I don't expect anything to happen. Unfortunately, there's just too much power.
I don't understand how something doesn't happen.
Well, okay, yeah, I'll agree with that.
I mean, I don't understand how that would work. Dr. Roy probably hasn't heard this particular clip, but we're gonna just go ahead and do it without him anyway. Because this was kind of an odd one, but this was a guy that he's from Real American Voice, and I don't have them on the cable, so I don't know. Whatever, I know they do have a cable channel. But listen to this clip.
I stood in that briefing room hearing the report from Tulsi Gabbard, seeing the receipts, as they like to say, and showing and proving that this narrative was created after the election to smear the results of the 2016 election. And what I was telling you in the break is I can't help but think of all the millions of MAGA supporters after the 2016 election that were afraid to wear a MAGA hat. They were afraid to wear a Donald Trump hat because they were afraid to get brutally assaulted in the streets by this narrative that for whatever reason they stole the election or Russia or Putin influenced the election. This is what we had to deal with for 4 years. And let me tell you, I was angry in that room, and I'm still angry at the fact that we had American media, legacy media, that was in that room at that very moment, still questioning what Tulsi Gabbard was telling them with the proof and with the receipts and the nice digital display on the screens behind her. This is just the beginning. Now, I would say before this press conference, Steve, this wasn't on the top of my list of what I wanted to get done right now, because I'm more concerned about the American people at home paying their mortgage, paying their car insurance, paying their health insurance, making sure the schools are safe, making sure our cities and streets are safe. That's what's most concerning to me. But after thinking about what the American people went through after the 2016 election, I want prosecution on President Obama and others that were colluded in this big lie. And I'll say this, I want the media that was sitting in that room today, I want their questioning whether or not they are allowed to come back in this briefing room because they simply misled the American people for 4 years, Steve.
There's a lot to unpack there. What I will say is I 100% agree with him. Mm-hmm. If anyone that's in that room gets this report and doesn't run with it on their own stations, whether it's CNN, NBC, ABC, any of those, they need to be pulled out of the room, or they need to be defunded, or whatever it is. I don't know if there's any money still tying back to those. But on a personal note, and I want you guys to just tell me what your thoughts are. Going back to when RussiaGate hit, I can't tell you how many conversations and disagreements I had with people, and they just swore Trump was guilty. They knew he was going to get removed from office. I think it was probably the primary story that launched what I call Trump derangement syndrome today, that you can't mention anything about Trump. You can't wear a red hat. You can't do any of these things because it just sets people off at such a level. And I believe wholeheartedly that it's because people were lied to and have been lied to so many times, so often about the man. Like him or not, I don't like him necessarily as a human. I don't know that I'd want to play golf with him even. I don't know. Maybe I would. I'm sure I would, but I don't know if he wasn't president, and I don't know if it's somebody I'd want to hang out with all the time. But I think he's the right man for the right job, and I, by all means, don't. I mean, the whole RussiaGate thing to me was one of the biggest hoaxes of my lifetime.
Absolutely.
I don't know either one of you want to riff on that at all.
Yeah.
Well, so there's a guy near where my child has her summer camp, and he likes to drive around with his big F Trump flag on the back of his motorcycle. And it takes everything I have not to run him off the road, because I don't want my daughter, for one, to see that.
Yeah.
But if I told him that Trump says, don't burn your house down, I feel like he'd throw a match to his house. Like, he's just, anyway. And there's a lot of people like that, and I agree.
Trump said air is good for you.
Yeah. Breathe.
We should all breathe.
Now what? Come at me, bro.
Let's go.
TDS is just a crazy thing to me.
Well, I don't know what it's.
My mother has it too. I'm not allowed to talk politics in the house.
Okay, so that's somewhat of a problem here, because yeah, I mean, I understand if it's your parents and they're of a certain age, you're probably not going to ever come to the middle,
right,
as it were.
But you used to be able to do that, and why can't you do that anymore? I could do that. I could talk to somebody who supports left ideology and have a conversation with them.
I enjoy it,
and as long as there's no animosity and no like anger, if we can just discuss it, I have no problem with that. But they will normally start calling me names, or can't believe that I would support a child rapist or a whatever they call him.
Extremism happens because people get isolated, and basically you're forced to believe that you're going crazy.
Or that John Cleese. Didn't you play that video of the John Cleese video, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
He's just on the list to hate, and everybody's got to hate him if they're going to be a righteous left winger, I guess. I don't know.
And
I'm not saying his shit doesn't stink. There's some things that he does that are stupid or whatever. But
I don't defend him a lot of times.
But I think that our country is. Like you said, I don't know that anybody can do a better job in that seat at the moment.
You have to be a psychopath to be at the helm of this particular ship that we're riding in right now, and not lose your mind.
Yeah,
I mean, he's had everything thrown at him, including bullets, every smear. He's got to have skin thicker than anybody else. I couldn't handle it. Like, you want to run the guy off just because he had a flag on the back of his motorcycle. Can you imagine the stuff that he has to filter through and not let get under his skin every day?
That chair, sitting in that chair for 4 years or 8 years, depending on what you do, apparently is one of the most unhealthy. Have you seen pictures of like Obama before and Obama after? Anybody before and after? Like,
except for Trump. Trump looks better than he did for his first term. I believe he looks better than he did.
That spray tan will do wonders, I guess. I don't know.
Mr. Orange.
Orange.
What are you going to say, Doc?
Orange man bad.
Yeah, Orange man bad. Yeah.
I got I want to tie in the deeper part of this conspiracy to me, because what you have to understand, what I am coming to understand when you look what Obama did and what he didn't do, and what RussiaGate was versus what the story we were trying to be told, they were trying to inform us of what it was. I believe that it's even deeper than that. It's not just they didn't want Trump to get elected. It's that, and people within the government, even when Trump was elected, said they were going to do everything in their power to get him not elected again. And the only way that you can, I personally have come to the thing, the only way that you would have to think he was an existential threat to something. And if it's not pushing the nuclear button and taking us to war with everyone, then what is that something? And to me, the whole Doge thing, the whole collapse, knocking down all these different platforms like NPR and Department of Education and USAID, to me, it was the power structures trying to protect itself. And that was the only thing it is.
And its pockets.
And we have talked about it a lot, how actors and actresses and musicians are all a bunch of lunatics when it comes to politics. But I want you to understand, it's the way I view things is I believe it's just a part of them being given the power. You can be a successful actor, actress, or musician if you follow the rules, as it were. This particular clip right here is going to lay that out for people, I think.
Went viral this week in the wake of the Colbert cancellation, which shows actress Claire Danes, who of course starred in that great Homeland series on Showtime. And she talked about how she, in that role, playing a spy, was meeting with spies on the regular during this time frame. It was 2018 under Trump. And as soon as she starts to talk about how cozy the intel community was getting with reporters, Colbert, who is not dumb, though he's a hack, stepped all over her and tried to change the subject. Here's the clip.
So now one of the things that you do you do this every season where you go get to spend some time with some actual spies?
We do. It's like the coolest part of my job. Spy camp for us producers and writers. And
really?
Yeah.
Is it like, you
know?
know?
So we park ourselves in a club in Georgetown and talk to, like, real spooks. And, people in the intelligence community and the State Department and journalists and people who really...
What do they tell you that, like, what's the most surprising thing that they've told you about their jobs or something you wouldn't even know?
Well, every year it's different,
He did not want to hear that.
We've been at it for a while, and the climate has changed. But this year it was all about, the distrust between the administration and the intelligence world, and the intelligence community was suddenly kind of allying itself with journalists, which usually they're not.
How long ago did you start shooting this season? How long?
We started in late August, September.
No,
Redirection.
Didn't happen. Didn't hear it.
Yeah.
How long have you been shooting the season? The clip that went viral this week.
So, again, when you wonder, we've talked about Operation Mockingbird and all these different CIA intelligence propaganda campaigns. You have insider CIA people sitting down with actresses, with journalists, and they're basically just trying to plant scripts.
Oh, sure.
And I don't think people have really understood that. And maybe I find it more fascinating than most people, and maybe most people don't care. But to me, it's all kind of linked together, and I'm always trying to solve that problem. So that's all I got on that.
That's all I'm going to say about that.
Yeah.
So I got other clips. It's about 7:45. We've been going for about 2 hours, haven't we?
If you can't say something nice, don't say nothing at all.
I do have some clips here I could share. There's Trump calls out a coup attempt. The Dems blame Trump for the exact same thing they did. I highlighted that one. Trump says in another clip that he made fun of Hillary when they debated when she was trying to become president in 2016, and he joked that he was going to put her in jail if he won. He never did. In this one clip, he says, I didn't really believe that it rose to the level whenever I said that before, but now I do believe she should be in jail.
Yeah.
So he said that.
Well,
you
know what she said? If they take me, I'm going to bring half of Washington with me.
Mm-hmm. I think there'll be a minute that won't be seen in her security footage in the jail cell, and she'll be killing herself. She'll Clinton herself.
Clinton herself. She wrote the book on it.
I mean,
Yeah.
When you know things, you know things. How you feeling, Doc? You got room for a little bit more?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Now he does.
Well, so I'm not going to go too deep into.
Look, I'm an old man with a big prostate.
That's right.
I got to go every now and then.
I'm not going to go too deep into. We hit on it a little bit last week, and I said I wanted to talk more about it this week regarding the Jeffrey Epstein thing and what it is and what it isn't. We've been sold for a very long time that it's simply just a pedophile ring, and it's because there's people that are sick and whatever, and quote unquote Trump's on the list. All these people are on the list, and then we're gonna put them all under. This particular one podcast with Eric Weinstein, I believe it was a Diary of a CEO also, is he called Jeffrey Epstein a construct of the CIA.
Yeah.
And let me just play the clip. We got some time.
Well, he was talking about, Epstein hanging around the math department at Harvard.
At Harvard, yeah. And this is only a 2.5 minute clip, so I think we can play it.
All right.
Get through it pretty good.
That's what Jeffrey Epstein was.
You met him. Was he a disgraced financier?
Jeffrey Epstein was absolutely connected to the Harvard math department. I want to know why.
How was he connected to the math department?
You're pushing me to say things I'm not going to say. But I don't mind.
I'm curious. I'm not trying to push you out.
I understand, but I'm just not going to do it. I don't know who he was. I don't know who ran him. He certainly was not a financier in any standard sense.
Really?
That was a cover story, yes.
The way that we know Jeffrey Epstein, in the UK especially, is just this guy who was this rich guy who had this island, who brought people there and then did these despicable things.
Do you believe that that's what Jeffrey Epstein was?
Just a real quick, when they were showing, if you're not watching, there's Eric who's doing the interview here, and they're showing headlines and stuff, and they showed Michael Jackson in this screen, and just I want to come back to that because of the pedophile story we were told about Michael Jackson. Let's keep going.
You met him.
I can tell that
financier.
He wasn't a financier the day I met him.
What was he?
He was a weird guy who didn't seem to know a lot about currency trading.
When you say a weird guy, what made him weird?
I'm not going to go back through that. My point is, you're getting a different interview. Jeffrey Epstein knew a tremendous amount about my work when nobody knew anything about my work. And he had a pipeline into me that I didn't understand, which is that he was connected to my graduate program. And you can check out the conference called Exploring Gravity.
Was it a gravity conference?
Yeah.
It was about gravity?
Yeah.
What the fuck was he doing talking about bloody gravity?
Bet that was heavy.
Financier.
It was very important to get Nobel laureates and some of the smartest people on Earth to come to the Virgin Islands and talk about gravity. Stephen Hawking was there, David Gross was there, Lawrence Krauss was there, Lisa Randall was there, right before his conviction. And I'm telling you, he was very focused on the Harvard math department, and he knew all about me in ways that he wasn't supposed to.
I have to be clear on my understanding of what you're saying. What I'm hearing is you believe that Jeffrey Epstein was not a financier. He was planted in some way to interfere.
He was a construct, is what I said.
He was a construct in some way to mess with the progression of physics.
When I met him, when the meeting was over, I immediately called my wife and I said, this person is not who they claim to be. Somebody has constructed this human being to be something that they are not. Jeffrey Epstein was a construct of something. Part of the problem with calling his plane the Lolita Express and calling his island Pedophile Island is that you just can't see all the different things that were going through this guy.
I want to put this in perspective.
Do you believe that that's what Jeff...
So that was part one of a series of 2 clips that I want to share. I don't know if anybody's ever heard that. If, because again, I've mostly when I hear about Epstein, I don't know about you, Travis or Roy, it is about the fact that he did launder he laundered pedophilia, he laundered kids, he laundered sex slavery, and I think we've got to the point where we all believe it was a honeypot operation.
Yeah.
Meaning he would get people to the island, he would get them on tape doing something
get
bad.
dirt on people. Yep.
Or in like Clinton's case, Clinton had dirt on him before he ever went to the island because he had sexual issues before, and I think that's the reason why he became president, because he could be easily controlled.
But he did
we
not
know this
have
about you.
Sexual relations with that woman.
Well, they knew things about him that, they would let him be powerful. He was very charismatic, very good politician, very good speaker. But they had just enough on him to where they could control everything that he did. And like, if you ever come out and spill the beans about what we're actually doing here, here's what you get. And I think that's what we get with every president. I'll just be quite frankly with you at this point. And I think the reason why Trump is so targeted, because he breaks the mold. He can't be bought out. He can't be, he's got a lot of dirty laundry, and most of it is all out there, and they can't control him.
They've tried. They've thrown the dirty laundry. They said they will, and so they do, and yet it still doesn't.
Just bounces off.
We still all know that.
Teflon Don.
So this last one, I believe this would probably be the last clip that we share today. I'm only sharing it because I myself have had mixed thoughts and feelings about Michael Jackson over the years, and I don't remember. I should have made a better record of when I should stop here. But this is a 19-minute long clip. We're not going to listen to it all, obviously. I'll leave the notes the link to the thing in the show notes. But this is going to basically tell a story to most people that I think they probably never heard about Michael Jackson.
They called him the king of pop. But Michael Jackson was more than just music royalty. He was a threat. A threat to the industry that built him. A threat to the elites who thought they owned him. And when he broke free from their grip, they didn't just smear his name, they ended his life. This isn't just a story about fame or controversy. It's a story about betrayal, control, and ritual punishment. The price paid by those who rise too high and dare to defy the hidden hands behind the curtain. The ones who speak in symbols and operate in the shadows. Because Michael Jackson didn't die from an overdose. He was systematically destroyed by the very machine that made him a star. Why? Because he refused to play their game. He spoke out. He questioned the narrative. And behind closed doors, he dared to say the unsayable. About Israel, about elite paedophile rings, and about the dark rituals at the heart of global power. A coincidence? Or the start of a campaign to destroy him? Once you hear the full story, doubt won't be an option. Only the question of how deep this deception really goes. Before we dive in, a quick word about our partner VP.net. And for that, they silenced him. In 1993, Michael Jackson recorded a song titled Palestine Don't Cry. But the track never saw the light of day. The gatekeepers at Sony refused to release it. According to insiders, the decision wasn't about music, it was about control. Michael's voice reached billions, and the elites feared what would happen if he used that influence to challenge one of the most protected narratives. They weren't just afraid of the song, they were afraid of the shift in global consciousness it could spark. 2 months later, the first allegations against Jackson were dropped in the media. The smear campaign began in 1993, a media onslaught that painted Michael Jackson as a monster, accusing him of unspeakable acts involving children. The headlines were everywhere. The narrative was set. But here is what they never told you. For over a decade, Michael Jackson was under intensive investigation by the FBI, and they found nothing. No charges, no hidden files, no evidence. The Bureau raided his home. They seized his computers, his hard drives, his phones, every digital trace of his life. They combed through everything, and it all came back clean. The files are now declassified, they're public, anyone can read them. And they tell a story the media refused to. A man relentlessly hunted, but never caught, because there was nothing to find. In fact, the records show that the agents who worked on the case walked away convinced of something extraordinary. That Michael wasn't just innocent, he was, in their words, one of the most pure-hearted individuals they had ever encountered. And he wasn't alone. Pop star Aaron Carter, pressured by federal agents to turn on his friend, later revealed the same truth. Not only was Michael Jackson innocent, he was someone with a light inside him that terrified the darkness around him.
Now listen to this. I have to tell you this. Okay. So
this is Aaron
after
Carter.
I left the party, I get back to the Sheraton Hotel at Universal. There's 4 FBI agents in the hotel room. And my mom's there and she's like, tell them what happened. And I'm like, what do you mean tell them what happened? And I looked at all 4 of them and I said, are y'all crazy? I said, what you think I'm gonna do? Tell you that Michael did something bad so that we can sue him for money? And I looked over at my mom and I was like, are you serious, Mom? I was like, what is going on here? Why are you letting this happen? She goes, oh, well, I think something happened, I think something. I'm like, really? That man did nothing but be hospitable, kind, loving, giving. What the fuck is this? And I looked at him right now, I said, nothing happened. That's sad, man. This life can be sad if you let it. It could be really lonely and really sad.
So the question is, if he wasn't guilty, why was the media so desperate to destroy him? From the moment he stepped onto the world stage as a child prodigy in the Jackson 5, Michael Jackson was granted rare access to the inner sanctums of global power. The boardrooms, the billionaires, the backroom deals. He saw the machine up close. And he understood, perhaps better than anyone, how the world really worked.
Beat me, hate me, you can never break me. Will me, thrill me,
You can never tell me, chew me, sue me, everybody do me, kick me, kite me, don't jump like a bite me. All I wanna say is that they don't really care about us.
Ask yourself, was the relentless smear campaign against him really about justice? Or was it about silencing a man who refused to play along? A man who dared to suggest that an elite paedophile ring built on exploitation and silence was operating behind the curtain. A man who saw that Israel was central to the whole structure. Michael wasn't just breaking the rules, he was pulling back the veil. And for that, they came for him.
Michael Jackson is apologizing to Jewish leaders for lyrics in a song off his new album, His Story. Jackson says he never meant to offend anyone with the song They Don't Care About Us, which includes the lines, Jew me, sue me, everybody do me, kick me, kike me, don't you black and white me. Jackson says he was taking a stand against prejudice, but now acknowledges his meaning could be misconstrued.
As Michael himself made clear, he wasn't anti-Semitic. He was.
I know this is kind of long, but there is a key piece of this that we're going to get to pretty quick here.
Anti-evil. He didn't have a problem with any group based on religion or ethnicity. His issue was with the predators hiding behind power, the manipulators, the blood drinkers, the ones who cried anti-Semitism to shield themselves from scrutiny while they destroyed anybody who stepped out of line.
Sue me, and some people are saying that that is anti-Semitic.
It's not anti-Semitic because I'm not a racist person. I could never be a racist. I love all races of people, from Arabs to Jewish people, like I said before, to blacks. But when I say Jew me, sue me, everybody do me, kick me, kike me, don't you black or white me, I'm talking about myself as the victim.
The mainstream media doesn't report the news. It manufactures consent. It's always been a mouthpiece for the elite, shaping narratives to serve power, not truth. And the people who run the record labels? They're cut from the same cloth. They have direct ties to media execs, the intelligence industry, and financial networks that operate far above the public eye. Together, they build careers and they destroy them. When a young artist submits to the system, they can be elevated overnight. The rise looks organic, viral, authentic, unstoppable. But it's not. It's ritualized, programmed, initiated by design. But when an artist refuses to play the game, when they speak out, question the system, or, God forbid, try to heal the world and make it a better place, the machinery shifts. Promotion turns to persecution. Accolades turn to accusations. And just like that, the same system that made you can unmake you. Michael Jackson wasn't just fighting over a contract. He was waging war against the puppet masters behind the music industry. He called them out by name. Sony, the executives, including Tony Mottola, the hidden hands. He spoke openly about what he called the conspiracy, a network of power and control operating far beyond the spotlight.
And Tommy Mottola is a devil.
He's not smiling.
I'm not supposed to say what I'm going to say right now, but I have to let you in on a secret.
Say it.
Please don't videotape what I'm going to say, okay? Turn that off, please. No, what? I don't mind. Tape it.
Michael is getting gangster today! Yeah.
He didn't stop there. Michael was determined to expose what he believed was the true rot at the core, an elite paedophile ring protected by the industry and a darker, almost unthinkable trade, the harvesting of adrenochrome. He saw it as a global sickness, and he was willing to risk everything to save children from it. And perhaps the greatest tragedy is this. Michael Jackson may have understood the darkness, but he underestimated just how far it would go to silence the light he carried. The pieces are about to come together. How they ended his career and his life. And what they reveal, it will shake you. We'll be right back after this important word from our sponsor.
I'm sorry.
Ellen Armstrong's book, Not Just Metal, Trillions from Deception, Swapping Your Fragile Retirement, Why Chain Your for Your Free Gold Bible for decades.
Forgot about that.
A practice buried beneath layers of secrecy and protected by power. But Hollywood has never been silent. It has spoken through symbols, storylines, and coded language. Not as a warning, but as part of a ritual. Because in the occult world of the elite, there's a rule. Their crimes must be revealed, however subtly, to gain the public's silent consent.
So this is one of Oprah's favorites. She says it's a miracle fountain of youth and her magic wrinkle cure. So I'm gonna put a little on your hand.
I'll do that, Oprah did.
Yeah, Oprah did it. All right, so here, we're gonna rub it right in.
How come it's red?
I'll show you in a sec, Steve. So this is made from growth hormones of human foreskin.
The wrinkles has just disappeared. I can't even ball my hand up.
But so it's made from human foreskin. I'm sorry, Steve.
You tell Oprah this what's on her face?
She knows.
She knows.
She knows. There were a couple protesters about it because they are cells from baby foreskin.
Oh, baby foreskin.
That makes it better.
Child trafficking is a side hustle for the elites, and Oprah is one of the top adrenochrome pushers.
Participated in human sacrifice rituals and cannibalism. She says her family has been involved in rituals for generations. She is currently in extensive therapy, suffers from multiple personality disorder, meaning she's blocked out many of the terrifying and painful memories of her childhood. Meet Rachel, who is also in disguise to protect her identity. You come from generations.
Sorry, I'm trying to skip through just a little bit.
While publicly projecting empathy, she played a key role in normalizing elite abuse and laundering the reputations of predators, all while helping to destroy those like Michael who dared to speak out. She gave prime airtime to Jackson's accusers, who had already testified under oath that Michael never harmed them. She offered them not just a platform, but credibility, encouraging them to revoke. Instantly, an audible alarm went off. Not symbolic, real.
I'm trying to get to one little clip. I'm sorry.
His posture stiffened. Fear flashed across his face. The moment passed quickly, but for
Ask you this. So many mothers in my audience have said to please ask you this question. Yeah. Why do you always grab your crotch?
Why do I grab my crotch?
Yeah, why? We think you got a thing with your crotch going on.
I think it happens subliminally.
In the early 2000s. That's right, Sean Diddy Combs. For most of his career, Jackson was protected by his friend, mentor, and head of security, Bill Bray. But when Bray retired, others stepped in, including Fahim Mohammed, who had deep connections to the record labels, law enforcement, and Diddy's sex trafficking and blackmail enterprise. Here's where it gets even darker. Diddy's sex trafficking ring isn't a new revelation. According to Rodney Lil Rod Jones's lawsuit, there's proof that Diddy has been running an Epstein-like blackmail operation for 30 years, targeting A-list stars. And get this, getting away.
Anyway.
Yeah.
It could go. I skipped through about 5 minutes of it, and there's about 5 minutes left. There was a clip in there somewhere where he actually was on stage and he let out a lot more live to everyone. And again, to me, this isn't to really go on about Michael or go on about Oprah or any of these people that we've heard in the news like Diddy Combs. To me, it's about trying to understand where the power is controlled and how the narratives are controlled and why they're controlled. And I've never really seen it as close as I do now, just how everything is really connected to each other.
Yeah.
And I don't know where you're at.
This. I've known about this for a long, long time.
Yeah.
And
but you couldn't talk about it because you would just be considered crazy. Right?
Well, yeah, and I just kind of kept it to myself. But there's terrible amount of stuff. Now that they've got Diddy locked up, there's going to be other people.
Well, and they're saying, I mean, the cover story is they're saying nothing's going on. The whole trial was kind of a show trial, and it didn't really bring anything real to light. Like none of this stuff, the backstory stuff, is there. So I don't know, Travis. You have an opinion on, it, or you just keep them quiet for?
I don't really have. I mean, I kind of knew when they were trying to do that to him. I know you weren't really necessarily honing in on MJ, but I think he was a great showman, and I think he was drugged through a lot of mud that he didn't deserve to be drugged through. But
well, and he had a personal doctor who injected him with things, and he died.
Yeah,
yeah, and he got arrested and sentenced to like 20 years in prison too for doing that.
Yeah. So sorry, it's a little bit of a dark story, but to me, again, we're trying to a little bit get to the root of truth and hopefully share things with people that they haven't heard before. For me, I went the truth to come out so everybody can talk about it openly. I also want to know, me and you, Travis, both have younger kids. Hopefully someday we have grandkids, and we're still really nowhere closer to figuring out what Pedo Island was all about. And there's still a lot of trafficking going on. There's still people that are disappearing all the time. There's we talk about concealed carry because we're worried about a lone nut job, and maybe there's not a lot of child trafficking kids taken from Evansville, Indiana, but there very well could be. And to me, what are we doing with our moral compass as a society if everyone on the planet doesn't want to stop what's going on?
Yeah.
So. All right, I love you guys. Appreciate everybody. Please follow us. You can follow us on Rumble, like, share, comment. Follow us on Spotify, YouTube, wherever you're watching it. If you have any recommendations, suggestions, please reach out to us. Thanks for listening, and I love everyone. Take care.
Yeah, take care.
See you guys.
Good night.
Thanks, Roy. Thanks, Trav.
Yeah.